Hey everybody, welcome back to Dyer's Place. Yes, we've reclaimed our name from that diabolical Mr. Burns. Right, Mike?
Yeah, but, um, I was gonna say something with Mr. Snrub, but it's not really coming to me right now. So, great start.
Hey Jay, what's going on?
Oh, hey, Jay, what up?
Yep. Oh, really? Which ones in particular?
Yeah, Dyer very much approved of that one of, Peter Gabriel that. Yes, exactly. How unfortunate that I shall be affected by one of the biggest music videos ever of the 80s there.
Yep. Meanwhile, I just chose a picture of a, more mature Geddy Lee. Probably
Yeah, that was
late 90s, I think.
yeah, that was when my mom had to admit that Getty really started looking incredibly cool. Like, holy shit, he just like transformed from his relatively geekier early self into like the this that I don't even know how to describe it. I gotta get my fucking words together here. One moment. Me. But also, I think I might be very minorly sick with something. So if you hear me doing that throughout the thing, I'll try and mute it down. But
Join the club. I was sick for the past few days.
yeah, yeah, there's something going around.
Yeah. Well, in keeping with our new theme of doing whatever, talking about whatever we want to talk about, this week it's music.
And not video game music. Not that that's any less valid than other forms of music, but we're talking more music that the public, well, in most cases that the public might know better. Music that would have gotten radio and or TV airplay in some cases, or we might go for things that are a bit more obscure for that than that. I don't know.
Yeah. But one thing we're doing though is we're keeping it lighthearted tonight. Yeah, God knows we need more of that right now.
Yeah. So
we're
not just lighthearted, but also relatively positive.
Yeah.
A caveat that I think Rob wanted to lay out is that we are not going to take this time to shit on any band that we're not fond of. We might save that for a later stream, but for now, it is mostly just on the up and up, and hopefully good vibes that we'll stick with.
And
unless we get in any tragedies on any band's ends, which I know there's at least one that's pretty prominent on that front. But I digress.
Yeah. But if anyone doesn't agree with us on our favorite music and whatnot, then you're entitled to your opinion.
Yeah, I'm up for civil discussions as long as it doesn't get too negative. So.
Yeah, negativity is bad, especially right now.
Exactly.
So I know my sister's not here yet, but she's expecting to hear us go ahead and completely trash all the music she likes, and even though I said no, we're not doing that.
It's okay, Sharon. We won't open any boxes on our own. If boxes get opened around us, then we will just carry on and not be too focused on said boxes.
Yep. She probably won't be here for another 25 minutes or so. I think she's talking to our dad.
Okay.
So, but anyway, yeah, music. It's, everyone seems to think I have this whole huge thing about video games, which is true. But music has kind of been my lifeblood for years. It's gotten me through some really bad times. It's amplified the good times. And there were some good times, I can tell you that. But Yeah. So as I saw, there was a meme I saw once that not a day goes by where I don't listen to music, and that holds true for me.
I
How about you?
mean, that's not so difficult to keep up with. Usually, you know, the plurality of that's a fucking word. A lot of songs really only like ask 3 or 5 minutes out of you. Games can be more of an investment, relatively speaking.
Yeah. And
But
even though a lot of the music I like might be considered depressing to people or angry, cheers me right up.
as well it should. Music on my end, I would say I actually didn't really give much of a shit until I became until I became a teenager. It was like I don't know if it was 12 or 13 or somewhere around there, but it just instantly clicked to me. You know what? I think I should seek out more bands that I actually like. And um there's this one guy I just took a somewhat arbitrary interest in that was a big fan of a video game that I liked, and then I found out he liked other video games a lot that I like. And I figured, he had this page called Zero Signal, where he talks about one of the pages on there was his favorite bands. And by the way, it's Rob I'm talking about if you haven't figured it out.
Yes.
Well, yeah, so I figured, shit, Rob and I's game taste really line up. Maybe our music taste would really line up too, but, since just music was kind of tabula rasa for me, and most of what I knew was just stuff that was playing on the radio and on TV, I figured I would start with Rush's Moving Pictures as the very first album that I would purchase, which I remember I did at the mall's music shop, and the clerk there, pretty cute looking woman, but I think like I was 13, so my memory's very hazy there, and that would have been inappropriate anyway. Um, she complimented my choice of Rush there, and she also mentioned that they had a new album out around then, Vapor Trails, which oh hey, a fan. I figured that I would work my way up there since starting with their most recent album seemed kind of iffy to me. So yeah, I just kind of dove in with Rush's most popular album, and I thought, yeah, you know what? I do dig this. This is not like things that I mostly hear on the radio. This is pretty damn cool. And then I just plunge in the rest of their catalog, and then look into what else was on Zero Signal as well. And a lot of my formative music tastes were this son of a bitch's fault. So
Zero Signal, just so you know, Zero Signal itself was a music reference.
Of course, it is the third track off of Fear Factory's The Manufacturer.
Yep.
And I...
Hey, Kate.
I'll say. Oh, hey, Kate, what up? I think that my tastes have somewhat branched off from Rob's to an extent, but, like, not heavily. Usually, something that he likes is something that I like. There are things that he's more into than I am, but, we like a lot of old white guy, white bread prog rock, so you'll be hearing a lot of that out of me. I'm kidding. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, you're more into the prog stuff than I am, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, what do I say? Yeah, I know you're not a big fan of Jethro Tull, whereas I would say that I am to an extent. But
yeah, Jethro Tull. Maybe my personal experience with Ian Anderson colored that, but
yeah, unfortunately, you had a run-in with him, and he was kind of a dick, which I fear he's not the easiest guy to get along with, so that is fair. We won't talk much about them.
His wife was nice, though.
Oh, that's cool. Mm-hmm. I will say, though, that Thick as a Brick is definitely worth listening to in full someday, if you haven't, so...
Well, you're going to find us some interesting stuff there, Kate.
Yes. Yeah, Kate has some very interesting music tastes. She's actually into a lot of death metal that I could probably do to look more into, although I admit I'm kind of a wuss, and
She was.
yes, some death metal just kind of stretches the boundaries of what I'm able to absorb, but
I
I
asked
could
Kate
do
for
to
some
stretch my
recommendations
horizons.
a while back, and those were all solid.
Cool,
So
very good.
let me kick something off here. You've gone in about your formative musical tastes and all that. I should probably talk a little bit about me.
Okay, sounds good.
This all starts somewhere in the early 1980s. And I do mean the early 1980s.
Hmm.
I remember actually hanging out with my sister and a friend of ours, and he popped in an 8 track, and it was Van Halen.
Hmm.
And I think that was followed by Kiss.
Hmm.
So that was my first exposure. Oh, yes, Kate. Yes, thank you for the recommendations. I'm always open to more, to keep that in mind. From there, most of the 80s was basically me listening to soundtracks and just whatever songs caught my ear on like Friday night videos. I didn't really listen to the radio or anything like that. I was not in any way, shape, or form a fan of the big, how to say, glam rock bands from the time. But there were other ones that I actually did like quite a bit. And 80s pop was also another thing. That was something, most of it I liked quite a bit. There was a little bit I didn't, but. And it must have been about my first or second year of high school that I really started meeting people, my age that had a little more advanced music taste than I did. So I started to pick stuff up here and there from them, like Metallica and Megadeth and some other bands like that, which led me to the early 90s and the grunge revolution, as
Hmm.
some people called it back then.
The last great movement of music that I personally give a toot about. No, wait, that's kind of negative. Shit.
You
I
you
did
can
want.
be a little negative, Mike.
I will say this, just to cut back to my part, just a little bit. I think I realized I wanted to seek out more of my own music because Vapor Trails, that would have been 2002, and that's when, like, MTV was starting to get shit, or rather, it had been shit for a couple of years, and
Legend has it the M&M TV once stood for music.
and I was starting to realize I wasn't as fond of the music of now as I was from then, so that's why I decided to look more into what I thought would be my own personal tastes that would be preferable. So, but yeah, continue.
Well, I graduated in 92, and that's when everything was really taking off as far as grunge was concerned. So, me and my little group of friends, we were picking up, not only the big stuff, but also smaller stuff that we introduced each other to, stuff like Animal Bag and bands of that nature. And we just developed a pretty between the 3 or 4 of us, we had quite the extensive selection of rock music. So between grunge and the good late 80s metal, and of course, my love of Rush, because I had discovered them right around that time. I think it was 91. They were playing Dreamline all the time on the radio.
Oh man, I'd never heard that on the actual radio once. I'm envious.
I heard it plenty of times. It was enough to make me go out and pick up the cassette, which
Well,
I
shit.
which I still have.
Very nice.
And it also ended up being the first CD I bought.
Makes sense.
But yeah, so, and from there it was just, and we were diehard MTV watchers at the time too, in the apartment that we ended up in after high school. Especially like Headbangers Ball, 120
All right.
minutes, shows like that.
Yeah.
Right before the whole real world thing came along and kind of started the downward spiral of MTV.
MTV in the 90s was really fucking something else. Like, not only was it primarily concentrated on music, but whatever technically non-music shows they had still kind of came back around the music. I mean, of course, that's where Beavis and Butthead
But you can't go without mentioning
rolled.
them.
Yeah, yep. And they're I mean, there are two sides to Beavis and Butthead, which is the show itself. That's them being massive dumbasses, and then their music video commentaries, which cut in between the episodes. And for as much as I like the actual episodes, I feel like the commentaries are innately more interesting just to hear them mock and occasionally praise the music of the time and maybe even a bit before the time. So
Push your little pansies and make them come up.
that's Daisies, Rob.
No, they said pansies.
Oh, they did.
Yeah.
Well, okay, that makes sense.
Or like when they were watching that, Frankie Goes to Hollywood video. Rocky 6 was the best one. It's where he took the knife and killed all those dudes.
Something that still just cracks me up is the instant King Diamond showed up, Beavis went, "Oh, check it out! It's the Turd Burglar." Don't you mean Hamburglar? No, it's the Turd Burglar. I don't know a lot about King Diamond. From what I have heard, he is quite interesting, but I just still found that really funny for some reason.
It's the buttworm from below. But
And
it,
like,
uh,
sorry, what was it? No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, they also introduced us to several bands we hadn't heard before amongst my friend group, and from what I've heard, a lot of others, namely one in particular, White Zombie.
That is true. I trying. This was before the movie, right?
Way before the movie.
Yeah, because that was actually the last White Zombie song that was in the movie, so I figured that'd be the case. I just wanted to make sure of my timeline here.
Yeah, when White Zombie first appeared on Beavis and Butthead, they had only recently released Last Exorcisto.
Cool.
So, and I remember talking to their bassist about that.
Yeah, you interviewed her, if
Yes.
I'm not mistaken.
I did, and she made a couple of comments about that, how it really did a lot for him, and she was thrilled to hear that because of that, their music was one thing that my friends and I bonded over, and apparently several people have told her that.
Awesome.
Yeah. And we always had MTV on, unless we were really bored and we wanted to watch like old sitcoms or something like that.
Well,
And even
was. No, go ahead.
Even they show some old sitcoms from time to time.
Well, it was a very reliable channel to have on for a while, but then, yeah, like you said, the real world just insidiously seeped its way into their programming, and then fucking like Total Request Live started to expose everyone to. I don't have a lot of hatred for Britney Spears or the Backstreet Boys now. It is what it is. But back then, I thought they were the enemy. They were the devil. They were an affront to the type of music that I was starting to like more there.
I will say this though. I remember once my friends and I were getting ready to go somewhere, and since we had MTV on, they mentioned something about they were going to be debuting a video that would have been shot in Blurmation.
Huh.
And it's like, Blurmation? Oh, and I was like, this sounds interesting. We got to stick around and watch this video. We did. Ended up being the video for Tool's Sober.
Ooh.
And thus we were introduced to Tool.
Very nice. Yeah, they looked on Beavis and Butthead also looked at Tool as well, and of course they were laughing at the name, but they didn't have anything bad to say about them, as I remember.
And I remember too hearing about, or actually seeing for the first time on there, Green Jello's Three Little Pigs.
That was fantastically demented.
Oh, I remember because they had billed themselves as the world's first video-only band.
Huh. Wow, interesting. Like they didn't have any live shows. They didn't tour or whatever.
No, they toured and did live shows, but they didn't release a CD.
Oh,
Yep.
I never knew that. Huh.
Yes, Snarb it is. And Kate, I have to admit, it still kind of surprises me when you say something like that. I'm just so used to you being such a death metal head.
I mean, heck, there is a large deal of pop music I like. It's just most of that is in the 20th century. You talk about pop and or popular music today, it's like speaking a fucking alien language. Maybe that's just my fault for not getting with the program, but like, fuck, I would not like I would not mind something like NSYNC coming back because at least that was relatively distinctive. At least I can pinpoint that as an actual beacon of music to abide by.
Oh,
But
and Snarb, I know exactly what you're talking about. And the moral of this story is that bands with no talent can easily amuse idiots with a stupid puppet show.
yeah, that was it. I was trying to think what that was the thing that ended on.
Yep. It's funny, even Guar showed up in that video.
Oh wow, Guar, really? I
Yeah.
forgot that. Odorous Orungus himself. Rest in
Yep.
peace, Dave Brocky, son of a bitch.
I remember specifically seeing Beefcake the Mighty.
Oh, very nice.
But let's turn our attention toward pop for a minute. I'm actually well, 80s pop, yes. There's, like I said earlier, there's a lot of that I liked. 90s pop, not so much.
Pop music, pop music. How did that went?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
Oh, M. You don't remember M's pop music? That was, I think, like 79, 80 or whatever.
No, I missed that one.
Okay, well, never mind. Carry on.
I basically skipped out on most pop music after that, but over the past few years, I've found a couple of artists who I actually don't mind too much, who are definitely pop.
Mm.
One of which being Dua Lipa.
Her, I legitimately like. I actually have liked what Dua Lipa has done. It feels like she's a very welcome burst of energy, aside from all your like Adeles and your Lana Del Rey's and your more husky voiced, very downbeat singers of today. I'm not as into that, but she's good. She's legit.
And I find it interesting, though, Kate, that you say you dislike rock. That's any bands in particular you were thinking of?
Yeah, that's not what I would expect. I mean, if you're talking about the Eagles, then yeah, I'm not really fond of them. So that's totally fair to not be a fan of the Eagles because oh no, wait, we're trying to reduce our negativity. So I'm not going to mention any songs that I think are extremely overrated. I'll just cut it there.
Yeah, and Snarb, yeah. Alternative. I listen to a lot of alternative myself.
Yeah. When I think of alternative now, I think of how Limousine had fallen out of relevancy when like another band took over for them in their pilot show, and how it goes like, but their bassist is a girl, and the drummer has short hair, and the lead singer wears glasses.
We don't even really care.
What was that for? It's because your type ruined heavy metal. Chuck Taylor wearing low self-esteemers. I love that insult so much.
Oh, it's great.
Yep.
But anyway, let's see.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tool is definitely not mainstream in any way. They're definitely alternative something, whatever they are.
I've seen them referred to as everything from alternative to, quote, prog thrash.
Something I saw, I think they were called like math rock at some point.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But, you know, we, as you can tell in the background, we put up a sampling of albums.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly ones I chose myself, but, I tried to do a decent cross-section.
Uh-huh. I can be a dork and name all of them just by their covers, if
Oh,
anyone wanted me to do that.
I say go right ahead.
Well, at the top there are Rob's favorite 3 bands ever, and three of those are still among my absolute favorites. Rush's Signals, Fear Factory's Demanufacture, Alice in Chains' Dirt, and then from left to right on the bottom, we have Master of Puppets by Metallica, Rust in Peace by Megadeth, October Rust by Type O Negative, Prequel by Ghosts, Selling England by The Pound from Genesis, Images and Words by Dream Theater, Angel Dust from Faith No More, Title of Record by Filter, Purple from Stone Temple Pilots, Empty by God Lives Underwater, Ima, it's pronounced Ima, right? Not Ima?
Truthfully, I'm not sure.
Shit. Ima/Ema by BT, and Dare to Be Stupid by our childhood hero, Weird Al Yankovic.
Oh, yes. Now I'm curious, Kate, as to who those exceptions are.
Yeah, I am interested in hearing more about this. I mean, while we ourselves are trying to be less negative, I am interested to hear what rock bands you do not like and or hate.
And
And
yes,
yes, Snarb, more BT is definitely very good.
absolutely.
Although I will give the caveat that, oh yeah, ESCM is great. Definitely go for IMA, which actually has 2 discs to it, and Movement and Still Life, and Emotional Technology, and These Hopeful Machines are all excellent albums. After that, I start to fall off a little bit, because he has gone also into more ambient albums, which Rob and I honestly aren't that fond of.
Yeah, I
But
wasn't a big fan of this binary universe.
yeah,
Which,
I gave it an earnest shot, but it wasn't quite up my alley either.
also, Snarb, look into the song Sunblind.
Oh yes, that's a great one. But don't confuse that with Snowblind by Black Sabbath. Although, you know what? Listen to that too, because I'm a huge fan of Sabbath.
Punk. Punk is kind of hit or miss with me.
You go first.
Well, I gotta say, probably my favorite punk band of all time is NoFX.
Punk and Drublick is still a good album, in my opinion.
So is White Trash, Two Heaves and a Bean.
That is not a title that would fly today.
No.
Oof.
Yeah, I'd say
Even if it is, even if it is
KMFDM.
self-deprecating. Sorry.
KMFDM, yeah, I'd say more industrial rock. And they have some
Yeah.
good stuff. Nil and Naive are 2 of their best.
Yeah. Symbols is a good album too. I can really do listen to more KMFDM. I kind of fell out from them for a while, but
And then there's
it wouldn't be a bad time to catch up.
MDFMK.
What?
You never heard MDFMK?
I feel like I have. I just forget what their deal was.
Yeah. Hi, Carla. How you doing? Welcome
Oh
in.
yeah, Carla. What up?
Yeah, MDFMK was, if I remember correctly, it was just KMFDM doing their name backwards for, might have been a legal reason.
Oh, well, it was a band formed by Sasha Konietzko, if I'm pronouncing that right, and
Think so.
another member, Tim Skuld, and there's a band member from another band, and it was, I guess it was kind of like a side project, although they seem to only exist for like 1 album. But, yeah, there's probably legal stuff for that. Like, Sasha didn't want that to be like a full-blown KMFDM. Like when 4 of Yes's most prominent members released the album Anderson, Bruford, Wake and How. Something like that, I guess. Because I know that legal rights among bands are notoriously iffy because record companies are soulless machines that have a diamond grip on their IPs, so it's a bitch to work around sometimes.
And not doing too bad, Carla. We're just sitting here tonight just talking about music.
Yep. For the most part, the music we like, we're trying not to be hyper negative, although I'd be glad to branch into... I mean, Rob, you were talking about punk, and you said you were kind of mixed on that?
Yeah, I'm a little mixed on punk. Like I said, NoFX being my favorite punk band. I do like some of the early Misfits and Black Flag kind of stuff. never really got into like Rancid. Hey,
Yeah.
Bats in the Bell Tower.
Hey, Bats, what up?
Uh, excellent choices there, both of those.
Power Windows. That's like my favorite underrated album by them. Like their secret best. It's in
Yeah,
my top 5 anyway. Power Windows is fucking
it's
great.
got mystic rhythms at the end of it.
That is like my favorite Rush song that almost no one knows about. But it did have a music video, so maybe it wasn't that unknown.
Yeah, but
Really fucking solid album from start to finish, though.
as far as other punk bands I can think of, I know I like The Offspring.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
hey
Hey,
hey.
let me make some crazy money. Had to fucking do it.
I'm not
Love
a
that game. Love that
huge
game.
fan of Green Day.
Yeah, I was all right with them growing up, and then American Idiot got big, and then I thought they became big sellouts, and then I realized, oh wait, maybe I wasn't that much of a fan of them in the first place. So that's how
Truthfully,
that.
my favorite song by them is Geek Stink Breath because it sounds
That's
the
a good
most.
one.
It's the most un-Green Day sounding song I can recall.
I like Hitching a Ride, and that one's not super typical of them either. But some good ones, yes. Yeah, don't get me wrong. Just if I hear Boulevard of Broken Dreams one more time, I'm going to stab my eardrums out. Okay, not really. Don't take that seriously.
But I remember in the mid '90s, a couple friends of mine were really into the punk of the time, so they were getting stuff by Epitaph Records, and which is like one of the biggest punk labels out there.
I'm sorry, Snarf. Feel free. Damn it. I hate it when I insult something that I don't know someone else likes, but I guess I should just stick with my statements and not try and backpedal. So, it's got a sister song? Really? I don't think I knew that. Shit.
I think
Maybe.
it does actually. Yeah.
Fuck, I don't remember what. Anyway, go on.
Sometimes I give myself the crepes. Shared that with my oldest once, and she likes Green Day, so she almost fell over laughing because they got a picture of Billy Joe standing there with a tray full of crepes.
Nice.
But yeah, so punk as a whole, just it's hit or miss with me. Like
Yeah.
Bad Religion's good. Pennywise is pretty good.
Yeah.
So I've seen a few of these bands live too.
Cool.
In fact, I remember the second time I saw Fishbone live. They were supposed to have Therapy opening for them, but Therapy had to cancel for some reason. That's how I got introduced to NoFX.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And then later on, NoFX and Pennywise were doing a co-headlining show. And that is the only time I think I'd ever seen NoFX perform Perfect Government live.
Wow. I wonder why you don't do that one more.
Yeah, they should.
Oh, Holiday. I think I know that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
no,
know.
that one's not bad.
I know both of those. So, yeah, I think even the music videos run together for those.
I never knew that. I thought Holiday was actually earlier. Son of a bitch.
Yeah. But yeah, so yeah, punk, it depends, really.
I, for the most part, am really not big on punk. I hate to sound like a snob, but the whole quote-unquote 3 chords into truth thing just kind of translates to all of it just kind of running together in my mind. I prefer a little more distinction in my music, and I know I fully sound like a snob saying that, but whatever, it's my preference, so what the fuck. But, yeah, no, I do like Punk and Drublick at least. I haven't listened to it in a while, but that's like maybe one of the few albums I have. Actually, I think I got a few more from NoFX, but trying to think if there's... I mean, I do like the occasional The Clash as well, although I guess they're not my favorite band, but I acknowledge how iconic they are. Same thing with the Ramones. I think a lot of their songs kind of run together, but again, I can appreciate, at least from afar, what they've done for music.
Go to hell, you old bastard.
And their appearance in The Simpsons will never not be one of the greatest things that's ever happened on that show.
I think they really liked us.
Smithers, have the Rolling Stones killed.
But sir, those...
As I say.
Yeah. Let's see. Feel free to go ahead and say whatever you want, Bats.
Yeah, fuck. Give those opinions. I mean, Snarv's asking us about two genres I'm not as familiar with.
Yeah, it's been a while when it comes to ska for me. Emo is something that'd be more of my oldest wheelhouse than me. Like, I don't know, name an emo band.
The one I think of foremost is My Chemical Romance, which I did listen to the entirety of the Black Parade once, and that is actually a real good album. Maybe I need to look more into the field of emo, yeah.
Okay, I actually have as well, so. And hello, Sharon.
It's legit. Jimmy Eat World's Bleed American is also a very good one. I know the middle gets overplayed way too much on the radio, but there's a lot of other good stuff on there.
All right, Mike, we have to address it again now that Sharon's here.
What's up?
We're not trashing your music, Sharon.
Yeah, don't worry. This is mostly a safe space, a more nuanced space, rather. We didn't form this round table just to dump on the likes of Warrant or Winger or whatever. We might save that for another show, but that's not what this show is tonight, so don't worry.
Yeah, so you like Motley Crue and Poison. To each your own, you know?
Yeah.
You like Mariah Carey. You knock yourself out.
Okay. Yeah, I don't like her all that much, and if I hear Holiday one more time, I'm going to jump off a bridge. Don't take that seriously.
Now, ska, that is another one that I'm just... it's been so long. We're talking like bands like Real Big Fish here?
Yeah, and the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones, which I think their frontman has come up with some quote-unquote bad opinions lately, so I don't see a lot spoken of them nowadays.
So what you're saying is about their frontman, that's the impression that you get? Wrong Poison, Kate.
Yeah, don't worry. We're yeah. It's frustrating to know that there are two completely different bands called Poison that go through two completely different tacks. I wonder how often like one band just has the exact same name as another, and it was a pure coincidence.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know there was another Poison until after Kate brought him up.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other cases like that, but
this is not a Poison that Sharon would like, though. This is very much not.
But I don't really have a lot to say about ska, except pick it up, pick it up, up, pick it up, pick it up. And that was Fatty's Big Chance. Sorry, Homestar reference. Well,
hey, if we're going to talk about that, then we should talk about everyone's favorite death metal band. Which I guess would be either Brain Creek or Tarantula.
They got last place. Okay, hey, we should do a Homestar roundtable sometime.
It's in the works.
Awesome. All right, but yeah, so I don't have a lot to say about ska. I just sounds like pick it up, pick it up, pick it up. Da, 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 da. I will say that Weird Al's Your Horoscope for Today, which is a very ska-esque song, is one of his most underrated songs that I love. But yeah. Other than that, I don't think I really have a lot of comment on it, unfortunately. I may have a little bit more on emo, since, like I said, I like what I've heard of My Chemical Romance and Jimmy Eat World, but by and large, it is still sort of a genre that's somewhat beyond me. I don't even know what really qualifies as, like, full-blown emo and what's just pop-punk, because I think those wires kind of got crossed a lot and it kind of pissed people off, but...
You know what gets me?
Those. What's that?
You mentioned Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah.
Whenever I think of them, all I can think of is Tiny Toon Adventures.
It's wild! That's
the one.
I do too. That is actually at the back of my mind whenever that fucking comes up. So, I mean, that's totally fair, but you know, maybe Jimmy did actually name that after that. I mean, I'd actually have to look into it.
Wouldn't surprise me. Now, regarding death metal, I was, I guess you could say, in the right place at the right time when a lot of that started getting popular in the early 90s, because Florida was considered the death metal capital of the world at the time.
Cool.
A lot of bands came out of Florida, and I knew a guy who was super seriously into this. One of those kind of guy who was so serious about his music that, if it wasn't this, then it just wasn't music.
Mm. I know the type.
Yeah.
Kind of. That reminds me of a Kids in the Hall skit, but continue.
Well, this is the same guy who hung out with a lot of people who were kind of the same opinion. And one of the guys he hung out with actually came up with the immortal ultimate lobster head.
Nice.
And he was also, this guy was one of the, I actually played in a band very briefly. I was bassist. Had a black Ibanez 5-string. It was gorgeous. But our band was called Techno Death. And we had one song worked out. Unfortunately, our drummer and our lead singer both joined the Navy, and that put an end to Techno Death pretty quick. Although Techno Death themselves does live on in some small fashion, which you may find out about in the future, or you may not. But yes, we had one song was called Barney Must Die.
Gee, enlighten us as to what is the lyrical content of that particular song you were doing.
Let's see. Lying in my bed, thoughts running through my head. I glance at my TV. What is this I see? It's a purple dinosaur waving at me through a door. A bunch of singing kids. I wish they'd shut their lids. Its name is Barney, so I've heard. Says he'll be the next big bird. Yeah, right, that's a joke. Designer must have been on coke. Death to Barney is my cry. Barney must die, Barney must die. See, kids, he's living a lie. Barney must die, Barney must die. Funny you mentioned that, Batch. We were actually talking about that earlier.
Yeah, we were like 5 minutes before he came in or so. And
And the moral of the story is that bands with no talent can easily amuse idiots with a stupid puppet show.
And he said that too. I also know that their song Carnage Rules was sort of used as the title track for the 16-bit Spider-Man beat-em-up Maximum Carnage, which is not the greatest game, but it did give it a rather interesting identity.
It was an official tie-in to that,
It was, yes, that too.
I remember because Andre got the game and he ended up getting I don't know if he pre-ordered or what, they got a bonus with it. He got a cassette single of Carnage Rules.
Nice.
I always like the line, no matter what your size, crush your spiders like flies.
That is pretty fitting, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, and, getting back on Green Jello for a minute, that whole video they did, the entire serial killer video, but back when they were the video-only band before the label convinced them to go ahead and actually release a CD. If you ever get a chance to look up the video for the song Serial Killer.
And that's cereal as in Cocoa Puffs and Fruity Pebbles.
Yes, it features Toucan, son of Sam. Who...
Oh, wow, that's dark. Holy shit.
Well, Toucan, son of Sam, ends up killing as many cereal mascots as he can. Rips out Lucky's pink hearts.
Wow.
Silly rabbit, tricks are for kids!
You know what? I do actually have to look this up. Maybe I've seen it before. I'll do that after the show, then.
I love when he takes on Snap, Crackle, and Pop. He's screaming at him to shut up, and finally they kind of trail off. He's like, I've got a much more interesting way to do this. And he just hauls off and decapitates all three of them. Snap! Crackle! Pop! And fake blood's flying everywhere. It's just one of the greatest things I've ever seen.
It does sound amazing, yes.
Yeah, sugar-coated slaughter is the order of the day. But yeah, that was a fun time. The old apartment days.
Nice.
Yeah, but that was also where I started going to my first concerts. I remember very distinctly my first actual concert was Stone Temple Pilots opening for Butthole Surfers.
Wow.
And I think,
Interesting that they were opening for them. I consider those bands of roughly equal caliber.
well, STP was just starting out at the time.
That's fair. That's fair.
They basically played the entire core album because that's all
Cool.
they had.
Man, you know what? That makes sense.
The whole green jello, green jelly thing was because of General Foods, if I remember correctly. They threatened to sue them over the copyrighted term jello.
Oh, yeah, no, that makes... Unfortunately, that makes sense, but interesting how they handled that.
Yeah.
Like it was still pronounced one way, even if it was spelled another or something like that.
All right, now getting back to that concert, I remember there were a couple of bands that also, opened up for them. One was called Fire Hose, and one was, I think, Basshead. And SCP came out, they played their whole set, which was great. Butthole Surfers, though, they stole the show.
Yeah, Gibby Haynes and his merry band of What the Hells, very interesting band to say the least.
Well, try this out. I remember
Yo.
standing in the crowd, I'm watching them, and at one point, Gibby Haynes pulls out a shotgun and starts firing into the air.
Jesus Christ, like actual live rounds?
I don't think so. But he's
I
like,
sure hope not.
after he fires off a couple of rounds, he turns back to the mic and he's like, "I'd like to thank the Orlando Police Department for allowing me to do this."
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
And later, I think I was talking to a friend of mine, and all of a sudden, I just happened to see this kind of pulsing glow coming from the stage. I turn around, he's got half a drum cymbal there, and he's got the bottom half filled with lighter fluid and it's on fire, and every few seconds he hits it with a drumstick, causes a big old fireball to come out.
Holy shit, that sounds amazing.
And then he finally like, "I'd like to thank the Orlando Fire Department for letting me do this." So, but now, concert number 2 was the one that really, I mean, SDP and Butthole Surfers was great, don't get me wrong. But my second concert, Lollapalooza 93.
Holy shit. Lollapalooza itself.
Yes. Except, I mean, the opening bands on the main stage were Rage Against the Machine and Tool.
Wow.
In fact, if I remember correctly, let's see. Yeah, Rage opened, followed by Tool. And then I think it was Front 2 for 2 after that. Followed by Arrested Development. Then Fishbone.
Nice.
Dinosaur Jr.
Very nice.
Alice in Chains.
Fuck yeah.
And Primus.
Primus sucks. I know Les doesn't like anyone saying that, but I still find it incredibly funny. I'm a child.
Oh, really? Yeah, I tell you, Bats, that was a hell of a show. I remember.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you one thing though. We couldn't bring anything outside, and I must have spent way too much on bottled water before someone clued me in that there was a place I could refill it.
Oops.
Yeah.
That sounds like a bit of a Homer Simpson move.
Yeah. And then it's like there was 5 of us there that day. And I swear, within the first 5 minutes of us getting in the gates, I lost the rest of them.
Oops. Big fucking crowd, though, I'm sure.
Oh, huge. But let's see. I was trying to think of particular highlights. I remember Bromley being all excited because he met the old guy from Arrested Development.
Cool.
And, when Fishbone opened their set, okay. Because one thing they had there was a curtain, which none of the other bands had, along with this huge, like, animatronic fish hanging over it. And Angelo, their lead singer, Angelo Moore, he comes out there and he's just like, starts reciting this poetry or something. And he ends up closing out with, "Swim, motherfucker, swim, motherfucker, swim." And all of a sudden, the curtain dropped, the band launched into Swim, and the whole place went nuts.
Awesome.
I was getting, shoved up against a security fence in the back. Yeah. And it was like the entire crowd just turned into a mosh pit. And
Yeah.
the thing is, I was never one for moshing. I always wanted to watch the band. So while my friends all went down to the pit, I was holding their stuff.
That's fair.
So I see a line of people going to leave the pit, so I just kind of followed them. Managed to get out of there. That's when I bought my Alice in Chains shirt.
Nice.
I still have that. And after that, once Dinosaur Jr. is over, Alice in Chains came on. That was the band I'd gone specifically to see. So, and they just released What the Hell Have I recently because it was on the last Action Hero soundtrack. Remember at one point the whole crowd's going, "What the hell have I? What the hell have I?" They never played it, which sucks. Yeah.
Wow.
But
Special.
But they were playing Sick Man, right? And Lane Staley, keep in mind we're in 100 plus degrees Florida heat. Lane Staley's up there on stage wearing a goddamn 3-piece suit.
I saw images of that. He looked pretty good in it.
Yeah. And what gets me is that right in the middle of Sick Man, he dives off the stage, mic and all.
Holy fuck.
In the suit. Awesome. And, you know, they got him back up on stage. It's time for him to start singing again.
Awesome.
And I remember at one point they're going through their set, and I'm just like, come on, man in the box, man in the box, man in the box. And next thing you know, they start man in the box.
Yay.
I don't remember what song they closed with, but, you know, hell of a good set. But honestly, at this point, Primus came out. We all caught up. We had been there since about 10 or 11. I think the gates opened at noon. And it was going on midnight.
Yeah. No, that makes sense.
We had spent the entire day out in the Florida sun in summer.
I probably would have collapsed at some point, but
we were just like, as much as we want to watch Primus, let's get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that.
So we watched a little bit of their set and then we took off. I think we were there long enough to see him play Tommy the Cat.
That's a great one.
I remember as though it were a meal ago. But, yeah, I remember after that, though, I had to go out and pick up Facelift.
Hell yeah.
At the time, I didn't own it. In fact, my CD collection was very much in its infancy at the time. The only Alice in Chains album I had was Dirt. So I had Facelift and Sap after that in pretty short order.
And Jarred Fly is not too long after, I'm sure.
Nope. In fact, I was... It came out the next year, really early the next year. I was there on day one because my copy has these little plastic flies in it, which they were only available in the initial release.
Holy shit.
And I remember it came out like right before our friend Chris got out of boot camp.
Oh.
And we'd also picked up, or at least I had, picked up Pantera's Far Beyond Driven.
Nice.
So, of course, he's been in boot camp this whole time. He wants to hear some stuff. So it's like, oh, you're going to love this. So, you know, we're playing Jar of Flies and Far Beyond Driven. He's just like, damn. Okay, Sharon has a request. And it's music related, but what she did, it must have been Christmas 92. And if I remember correctly, I really wanted Pantera's Vulgar Display of Power.
Classic.
Well, she got it for me. And she put it in a box. And she wrapped it up. And she put that box in another box and wrapped it up. And then wrapped the next box with tape and wrapped it up. And so on and so forth. So, of course, I worked my way through to finally find it. And I was like, I'm going to get you. Well, next Christmas rolls around. And she had heard my copy of Dirt and really liked it. And she told me she wanted Dirt for Christmas. I said, okay, coming right up.
Uh-oh.
I get an empty cassette tape. I go out to the backyard, fill it up with dirt, slap a sticker on it that says 100% authentic Florida dirt or something like that. And I wrap it up, and then I wrap it up, and then I wrap it up. And I give it to her on Christmas morning.
That's a very genie-like thing to do.
So, of course, once she gets to the actual, cassette box full of dirt, she was like, what the? And I actually had bought her the CD, so.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she did give me Vulgar Display of Power. She just decided to be funny about it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. Fair play, fair play.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yes, I was that one. It was that time and that place. So yeah. And speaking of Christmases and music, I do recall it was Christmas '95. Every single one of my friends got a copy of D Manufacture as their Christmas present from me that year. So, yeah. Oh, well, let's see. We'll take a break here and let you talk about a music memory of yours, Mike.
All right, well, I mean, if you're talking about concerts, I sadly don't have as much experience on that front. I have only ever been to 4 concerts in my entire life. I'm usually not a big concert guy. I'm not usually a live music guy, but I felt these were pretty justified, and the last one is rather interesting, I feel. But first concert, Gigantor '05 at the Reading Sovereign Arts Center, where several metal and prog bands were playing at. I remember for some reason the Dillinger Escape Plan was booed. I forget why exactly. But they did have Symphony X there, and that's a band I could definitely do to listen to more. Although the 3 big ones were Dream Theater, Fear Factory, and of course Megadeth, since Gigantor is primarily Dave Mustaine's thing. So,
and if I may interject for 1 second.
Oh, what's that? Yeah.
I will say I too was a Gigantor '05, just out in Arizona instead of Pennsylvania.
Yeah. That tour went very well across many places. So
that it did, but go on.
And yeah, it was really damn good. It did last quite a bit, but they were all great. And this was before Dave became the turbo asshole he is now, or at least in my opinion. But let's not go there. And then second concert, Weird Al, touring straight out of Linwood, and he was excellent. My only one unfortunateness, I would say, is that he didn't perform Dare to Be Stupid, but he did all the other ones I would want him to, so, one out of many others ain't bad, so. And then, year or two later, I saw fucking Rush themselves at the Hershey Stadium, and it was fantastic. Really, was hoping to see our favorite band ever, and I'm glad I did. I know Rob has, I think, more than once, so...
Yes.
I'm glad I got to catch them on their Snakes and Arrows tour, especially since, they'd hang it up, 4 or 5 years later. I forget when they officially did that. And of course, Neil and Peter is unfortunately passed on now. So glad I got to see them when I did. I'm sure the ticket was costly, but thank you, Mom. You knew what I wanted when they came around, and I really appreciate it. And then I felt, since I had seen Rush, I had no need to ever see another concert again. And I didn't. For 16 years. Until it just so happens that I started really getting into the Illinois grunge band Local H, who I will go to bat for being very underrated, and I wish more people would listen to them, but Scott Lucas is an immensely talented motherfucker, and I can't believe that the band's been a two-piece for 30 years, and they've been as awesome as they've been. Local H was actually coming to a venue that was very nearby. It was only like a half-hour drive or so, and I've been by this place several times. And yeah, I figured, what the fuck? I'll go see a concert for the first time in 16 years. They had two other bands in front of them that I didn't care too much for, although they did seem pretty good. But yeah, Scott and Ryan, when they were up, they really tore the roof off. It was a very good time. They were on their 20th anniversary tour of whatever happened to PJ Souls, and they performed the entirety of that. And then on their encore, went into several other songs that they've done. And not only was it really good, but it only cost like $20 fucking. So yeah, big bonus. I get to see one of my favorite bands. It did cost me that much.
Hell yeah.
Boom. And Sharon, I didn't meet Weird Al directly, unfortunately, but I did have a very good time at his show, and I remember he had on his video screen in the back, he played a clip from King of the Hill, where Bobby was talking up Weird Al, and then Hank responded jerkily with, Bobby, Weird Al blew his brains out in the mid-'80s when he realized no one was buying his albums. I bet Al himself found that immensely funny, so...
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
In fact, Mike Judge was actually rather inspired by Weird Al, which is why the name of the burger place in Beavis and Butthead was Burger World.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
I never knew that.
Named after Big Edna's Burger World from UHF.
Oh, wow, that's excellent. Oh, and another thing I remember on the Rush concert, they were playing a bit from South Park, where, actually, maybe I can't say that out loud, but there's an amusing bit that they did back before I realized South Park wasn't really my thing, but...
Is that the Little Rush bit?
Yes, exactly.
You can look it up on YouTube. It's easy enough to find.
Yeah. I won't go into details, but yeah. But yeah, so I don't really have a lot of concert experience, but I have really liked the four I've been to. Will I ever go to another one? Well, if it's a band I like and/or it's close by and/or it's inexpensive, like how Local H just lined up extremely well, I don't see why not, but I'm not sure if I'll ever get that lucky again, but never say never.
Oh.
Wow, Sharon, that's really nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And, Rich, glad I could introduce you to STP and Alice in Chains.
Yes. Yeah, hey, I had known of Alice in Chains for a long time myself, and I had liked what I knew of them. Then I saw that they were one of Rob's favorite bands ever, and I got even more into them. And around the time I would consider myself a full-blown fan, Lane Staley died. That was a huge kick in the nuts.
Yeah, I'll say.
But I am glad they did manage to pick back up, though, and I do feel that while I can understand why some people aren't as fond of their latter era, I think they've done excellent since then. I actually think The Devil Put Dinosaurs Here might be a top 3 album of theirs. I'm not sure. Unfortunately, it does seem like the new AIC's kind of been on hold lately. We haven't heard much about them since Rainier Fog, but
yeah,
we still got a lot of great music out of them. So, like, if they're on semi-hiatus or full hiatus, or even if they're gone entirely, we still got a lot of great music out of them. So I'm not going to bitch too much.
Mm-hmm. And if you were curious, Richard here, that's my older brother.
Hey, Richard, I don't think you've been in here before, right?
Hey. First time, I think.
Hey, I'm Mike. I'm Rob's something in crime, I guess.
Co-host in this case.
Let's go for that. Yeah. That's a much more delightfully co-host in crime. Yes. Excellent. Yes, cool. I like it. It's good.
So, now, you want to talk concert experience? I got plenty of that.
You have a shitload more than I do. I'm not sure if I can keep up, but go ahead, say what you want.
Well, Rich, I'll say you tuned in on a good night since we're experiencing, we're trying to go with different topics and just video game stuff. So,
yep.
Let's see. Okay, see, I mentioned, STP and Butthole Surfers and Lollapalooza. I can't remember exactly what show was after. I think it was the NoFX Fishbone show. Got to meet Angelo Moore at that show.
He seems like a cool guy.
He was stoned out of his mind, too, I can tell you that.
Okay, that makes sense. It would have been the style at the time.
Yeah. We also got to hang out with the lead singer of the band Green Apple Quickstep for a little while.
I'm not sure if I'm familiar with them, actually.
I don't think many people are these days, to tell you the truth.
Huh. Green Apple Quickstep?
Yep.
Am I hearing that right?
You are.
Oh, no, there they are on Wikipedia.
Yep. Let's see. After that, though, I remember distinctly because it was actually Sharon's birthday that I went and saw them for the first time is when I first saw Rush.
Oh, wow. Sweet.
Candlebox is opening for them, which they played for about a half hour, left the stage, and then Rush came out and played for the next 2 hours. If I had any disappointment about that show whatsoever, it's that they did not play Subdivisions.
Well, irony considered, they did play Subdivisions at the one show I went to.
The second and last time I saw them, they did.
Good. Good. Very good, Bingus.
So my group of friends after that, we ended up going to a lot of concerts. Kind of blurs together after a while, especially considering that the majorities were in the 90s. But I remember my birthday that year, White Zombie was playing down in Orlando. So got to go see them and got to see this band called Chem Lab who was opening for them.
Oh, the infamous fucking Chem Lab.
Yes.
You've made them infamous among your circle, to be sure.
No one liked them. The whole crowd was standing there, flipping them off, telling them to get off the stage. Got to the point where the lead singer was like, "Hey, man, you paid for it. You got to listen to it."
Oh, we didn't pay for you.
Exactly. We were all there to see White Zombie. But let's see. I also ended up seeing Guar for the first of a couple times about a year later. Yeah.
Is it absolutely mandatory for every concert they do that one lucky audience member gets fed to the world maggot?
I think that started with this Toilet Earth album.
Oh, did they do that at the show you went to?
Yes.
Fucking A. Awesome.
They also had a tendency to take a celebrity and totally destroy them.
Well they should.
I think at that first show, they took Michael Jackson and cut off his dick.
Holy shit. Oh, wow. How do I even respond to that? I'm not sure I can.
Well, in the next one, the worm-eating corpse Jerry Garcia came up, and they hacked him to bits.
I bet you appreciated that in particular.
Yeah, I've never been a Grateful Dead fan, so yeah.
Yeah.
Hippie jam bands are really not my taste.
Yeah. I feel like anyone who'd be a fan of Guar would, like... It would be completely infeasible for them to also be a fan of Fish. That's sort of the weird sort of duality I get from that. I don't know.
But I will say, first time I saw Guar, they had a couple bands opening for them. One was a band called the Meatmen.
Never heard of them.
Their signature song is "We're the Meatmen and You Suck."
Well, direct. I'll give them that.
The crowd was kind of middling on them for a little while, and then they hung up this huge banner that said "Green Day sucks," and that won the crowd over right there.
Okay.
And then they covered, get this, then they covered the Green Acres theme song.
That's cute. That's actually pretty neat.
And then X-Cops was playing. Now,
don't think I know them either.
X-Cops is Guar and Cop Drag, as someone once put it to me.
Okay, that sounds pretty amusing.
And then, of course, Guar. Well, Guar's Guar. But
yeah,
yes.
Of course.
And I know at one of the shows, Sleazy P. Martini came out to introduce them.
Yes, their manager.
Oh, and just, at one point he says something, he says something, fuck, and the whole crowd's just, they start laughing. He's like, what? You got a fucking problem the fucking way I fucking say fuck? I think that was, That might have been this tour, because I think the second one I saw him on was the Ragnarok tour.
Sweet.
Let's see. I know when I was dating my first real serious girlfriend, that was when nu metal was really blowing up big.
Oh.
And we ended up getting tickets to go see the Family Values tour.
Who was on that, if you remember?
Well, let's see. It was Korn,
Lines up.
Limp Bizkit.
Lines up, for better or worse. Hey, how about that new DMC anime?
Oh, jeez. Well,
sorry.
Rammstein.
What's that?
Rammstein.
Oh, I pronounced it Rammstein. Is there any one way? I don't know exactly.
I don't know either.
Either
Let's see. Orgy. And
cool.
I think
Underrated.
Aaron Lewis.
Oh, boo.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. It's like they reached the border of Florida, and every band on the tour said to Korn, well, we'll see you guys later. And then Incubus came up and were like, hey, we'll go with you.
Huh. That's unlikely.
So,
At least
yeah.
I wouldn't have expected that.
Rammstein. Yeah, sounds about right. So, it ended up being just a Korn Incubus show, and it was good.
Yeah, Incubus is a band I'm not a huge fan of, but I have like some of the stuff they've done.
Have you ever heard the song New Skin?
Probably once. I don't remember that one, but I do like Pardon Me. I will say that.
Well, you should trust me. Listen to New Skin. That is a great song.
Check. I will put that in YouTube and give it a check after the show.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Oh, yeah. Also, the first time I saw Fear Factory was when I was dating that girl.
Okay.
And they were opening for Slayer.
Shit, that lines up pretty well.
Well, the interesting thing was, she had never been to a concert before then, because we saw Korn Incubus after Fear Factory.
I see.
I hate to say it, but she tried her best to, look good for the show, like to dress like the style at the time. She didn't really do that well with it. But I didn't want to say anything to her though, because I wasn't going to hurt her feelings.
Oh wow, Rob being the red carpet fashion critic of the time. I can't imagine it.
I'm sorry, if you could have seen the eyeliner and eyeshadow she was wearing, it just...
Oh, I see. Yeah. Apply liberally, I guess.
Yeah, it just didn't work.
I got you.
She also caused us to miss most of the first song Fear Factory did.
Oh, nuts.
Which
that
was
sucks.
shock.
That's a great one to start on.
Yeah. But we were there for the rest of the show, and it, at one point they were actually up on stage doing Pantera riffs and whatnot.
Nice.
Problem was the crowd.
Uh-oh.
Slayer is a very diehard fan base.
Yeah, I can see that.
Some of them being a little more diehard than others.
Crap.
It's like every time Fear Factory finished one of their songs, you had this one group of annoying Slayer fans just sitting there just chanting, Slayer, Slayer, Slayer. And it's like,
wow, that's...
Come on, guys. Come on.
Very fucking stereotypical.
However, I will say, Slayer played a great show.
I mean, shit, yeah. I mean, they're still running well in the 90s, even if, I'm not really big in their albums past the Seasons in the Abyss. I'm sure they still had their energy with them at that point, so...
oh, yeah.
That's good.
This was 98, so...
Sweet.
Now, I was there with both Braunley and my girlfriend. And
well said, Kate. I completely agree. You're right on that. I know that you are a Slayer fan, so I appreciate the acknowledgement.
Well, here's the thing, though, is that neither Braunley or my girlfriend were Slayer fans at all. And they kept begging me to leave. And I was like, no, I want to hear one song. After they play that, we can leave. Yeah, I wanted to hear Seasons in the Abyss.
Mm.
Guess what song they closed with?
I remember you saying this now. Yes, yes. Well, that was I would call that borderline serendipitous, even though I'm sure they weren't happy about it. But
No, they were not thrilled at all.
well, shit.
Now, somewhere along the way, I almost saw Fuel too, but for some reason, I started to feel really bad, and so did everybody else, like physically sick. I don't know what it was.
You didn't eat like some rotten bananas or something before the show, did you?
Didn't have much in the way of anything actually, that I recall.
Oh, maybe hunger is just getting to you.
Whatever the case was, it wasn't just me. It was Braunley and a couple of the guys who were with us. And I was like, yeah, I'm just not feeling this. Let's just go. So,
Dag,
yeah. Then let's see. Trying to, like I said, it all kind of blends together after a while. I'll have an idea. Let me see something here. I've saved my ticket stubs.
Very nice.
So let me see.
I forget if I kept the one for local agent. Or no, wait. Yeah, I don't remember.
Here we are. Let's see. Start with this one. Okay. So in order, there was Stone Temple Pilots and Butthole Surfers, and then Lollapalooza 93, then White Zombie, then Fishbone, then Rush, then Guar. Which brings up to 94. And this was followed by, White Zombie. Our friend Patrick and I actually followed them around on tour through Florida.
Nice.
Saw them 3 times that year.
Excellent.
White Zombie. Then we saw Guar again. And then White Zombie in Lakeland. And then White Zombie in Jacksonville. Now, that show in particular was interesting because White Zombie at the time was actually gathering their fair share of protesters. Because, they're satanic.
Yeah, here we go. And, I'm not too stereotyped, but I'm sure Florida had their fair share of those types.
Yeah. The thing is, they only had one guy there with a sign.
Loser.
So as Patrick and I are going to leave, we're going to get in his car, and all of a sudden we hear this crowd chanting, "Burn it, burn it, burn it, burn it." And we turn around, there's this huge pack of White Zombie fans just going after this one lone protester.
That's pretty great.
Then we saw the cop, lights from the cop cars coming, and we're like, let's leave.
Yeah. Good point to bail. That flies.
Yep. All right, then there was No Effects. That was 96. Slayer and Fear Factory in 98. So, all right, now we're getting down to the stuff where I was starting to lose it here. Let's see. Okay. After that was the Korn concert. Then Fuel would have been July 13th, 1999. Now, interestingly, after this, I was, I believe I was single at the time. My ex-girlfriend and I had broken up, and this was before I started dating my next girlfriend, who I was with at the next show we saw in 99, which was Fear Factory. They were headlining at that time, and Static X was opening for them. And that's the one I managed to get my ticket stub signed by everybody, including Wayne Static, who has since passed on.
Yeah, R.I.P. They're a good band.
Yeah. And let's see. Here is a good one. Okay. November of 99. My first and only Weird Al concert. That was a great show. That was an absolutely great show.
I didn't realize you'd only saw him once. Huh.
Yeah, unfortunately, I just either never had the money or missed him every time. Same thing with Rush. That's why I didn't see them at all in the 90s aside from that first time. But, I don't know exactly how it happened, but I managed to start a sing-along in line.
Oh, how so?
Well, I was there with my current girlfriend and a couple of our friends, and we were, of course, whole line's excited because we're going to see Al, and at one point I said just loud enough for someone else to hear me, a long, long time ago, in a galaxy far away.
Right, that would have been Running with Scissors then. Very
Yep.
nice.
And then one of our friends joins in with, the next line. Next thing you know, someone else joins in with another line, and then it just escalated from the whole line was singing at one point.
That is adorable. That is genuinely wholesome.
Yep. And yeah, that was just a great show. I was not prepared for that. And then, okay, now this one was interesting. This is a band I do not like. I find their music too happy.
Mm.
And
I'm just coughing. Like I said, I have a little bit of a thing right now.
Gotcha. Anyway, this band is called Cowboy Mouth.
Sounds familiar.
They're kind of really, really super upbeat rock country kind of. I don't know. All I know is that my girlfriend at the time was a super huge fan of theirs. And so was a mutual friend of ours. So they're coming to Orlando. And of course, they're all excited. They got to get tickets. And it's like, you know what? I think I'll go with you. Maybe I'll see something in them live I haven't seen in their albums. All right. Well, that's all fine and dandy. The night we all go out there, she's acting a little off. So, opening band's playing. We go out, we talk. And that's when she tells me she wants to break it off with me.
Oh.
They couldn't even wait till after the show.
Well, it's a good thing you didn't like them before. If it was a band you had liked, maybe they would have been ruined semi-irreparably. But hey, this is just dumping shit on shit, so no big loss.
Yeah, well, all of them went down and stood down by the stage and had a great time. I stayed up in the balcony going, I want to go home. This sucks. And I remember we left there. As soon as we got back to our apartment complex, I just left her car, didn't say a word, got in mine, took off, and played something appropriately heavy and dark because it cheered me up a bit.
Was that Slayer, actually?
Could have been.
Oh, you don't remember exactly.
I had a big stack of tapes in my car, so
makes sense.
I just picked the heaviest and angriest stuff I could find. And most of these were like mixtapes anyway, so it could have been a mix of Slayer and Pantera and Ministry and who knows what else. All right. And then, let's see, saw Fear Factory again in 2001. And that one, I was with my future ex-wife.
Oh, shit.
I think. No, that was a different one. Okay. Maybe, no, that was the one. Okay. All right, and then after that, my concert going kind of started to peter out a little bit. But there were a few highlights. Gigantor.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you're interested in hearing about this, I actually dug up my old review of the show that I posted on the old T3M. So, see, there was a problem during our Gigantor. This was right out in the middle of the desert in Arizona, and they have a lot of thunderstorms out there. So the power went out right when Fear Factory was in the middle of playing Martyr. So for about 15 minutes, Burton just kind of hung out on the stage, tossing his mic up and down, and once power came back on, Burton started talking about how windy it was, and then he started to act like it was blowing him across the stage. And so he had the crowd, which actually there weren't a lot of people there for them. And he knew how to work the crowd, so he was definitely hitting the crowd with funny comments and stuff in between songs too. Very personable kind of guy. And I actually have some personal experience to back that up after my liver disease was diagnosed. My
Mm.
wife Betty ended up getting me a cameo from Burton.
I remember that. That was really cool.
Yes, and it wasn't just one of those he phoned it in things. He was very genuine in that.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's too bad they were touring for what is basically their worst album at the time.
Ooh, that would be either what Digimortal, right?
No.
Transgression?
Yes.
Yeah. That is, I would have to agree, that is their weakest one of their 10 that exists, sadly.
Yep.
Oh well. Oh well, it is what it is.
Yep. And then there was, Dream Theater played, and unfortunately, they didn't play Metropolis Part 1, which I really wanted to hear.
They played half of it when I saw them. They led into it from another song. Unfortunately, I can't remember what the other song was that they played into.
Yeah, and they got delayed by like an hour and a half, too.
Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I'm sure that FF and DT had to play shorter sets than usual, but
Yeah.
Alas.
But, and then, Megadeth was the finale, and they played a whole bunch of good stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it would be. I forget, was this around the time United Abominations was out?
I think it was a couple years before that, actually.
Hmm.
Might have been World Needs a Hero.
Is this Gigantor we're talking about?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure that
The System Has Failed came out in 2004. That would probably
that's
be
the one.
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm. All right, but let's see here. So after I saw that, then I got to take an entire evening with Dream Theater, which was fantastic. They played Caught in a Web.
I love that one.
According to Chris, they never played that live that he'd seen.
That's fucking awesome. I really like that. I would admit that Awake is probably my favorite album by them, even above Images and Words. So I would have been Pickled Tink. I know I Flanders line there.
Yeah.
You so diddly yuck, Flanders. I'm trying to remember what they played at mine, aside from Part of Metropolis Part 1. Funny enough, one of the few ones I do genuinely remember was Peruvian Skies from their mostly panned Falling from Infinity. Or Falling into Infinity.
I remember I had such high hopes for that album, I was kind of let down.
Listening to it now, I actually do like a lot off of it. It's just, yeah, I can understand where... Oh, what the fuck? Doug Pinnick had additional vocals on the Lines in the Sand? I never knew that.
Surprise.
Yeah, King's X, very underrated band. Definitely listen to Dogman if you haven't. I will just say that randomly to anyone, but... Yeah, it certainly was not their best album, but I think some people think higher of it now than when it first landed, so...
Yeah, that could be. Anyway, about a year and a half after I saw that evening with Dream Theater, I got to see Nightwish.
Oh, nice.
And that was right after they'd gotten Annette.
Very nice.
It only lasted for 2 albums, but still. And then, let's see. I think I've run out of ticket stubs themselves, because the next one I'm seeing here is Halloween Horror Nights, 1997.
That was a concert?
No.
Okay.
Here we are. Never mind, I found it. Okay. All right. Let's see. 2008, I saw Duran Duran.
Oh, wow. Holy shit. I can't believe they're actually still touring at that point.
Oh, yeah. And they put on a hell of a show, too. Simon Le Bon was jumping around like he was still in his 20s. Probably.
That's amazing.
Might be cocaine, but,
Yeah, well, whatever works, whatever gets them up there.
Yep. And then a little less than 2 years later was Alice in Chains. This time with William Duvall instead of Lane Staley.
Very nice. Very nice.
And here we go. 2010, An Evening with Rush on the Time Machine tour.
Excellent.
Now, just to give you an idea, do you know how much those tickets cost?
Oh, I don't even know how much mine costs. So,
Well,
uh,
I paid close to $100 for them, for one ticket.
mm, that lines up. That lines up.
I paid $30 for my ticket back in '94. That
Mm.
sucks. All right, but let's see. Now, this one I simply have to talk about. So, bear with me.
Okay.
This was quite the show, especially since their lead singer has since passed on. 2012, I got to see and meet
The
the Cranberries.
cranberries. Right. Right.
And on top of that, I took my two oldest girls with me,
Oh wow.
who
Yeah. Yeah. I
were,
remember this now.
I had introduced them to the Cranberries. They loved them. So
Excellent.
I had this whole thing set up where basically I knew they were going to have a meet and greet. I was talking, at the time I was working at a casino as a security officer. And I was talking to one
Mm.
of the other guys. And it's like, man, I wish I could get my girls in the meet and greet. And he's like, oh, why don't you talk to Cliff? And he's tribal. And I was like, huh, okay. Well, Cliff was one of the guys that worked with us. And he was tribal. And he said, oh, I'll talk to my niece for you. His niece was the head of entertainment.
Oh, sweet.
She set the whole thing up. We brought the girls there that night. Just, I'll spare you the whole lead up to that. But I thought it was funny anyway. Once we got there, we went to our seats and we sat down. And after a few minutes, I was like, you know what, girls, I got to go to the men's room. So come with me. And parked them outside the door. Said, you girls stay right here. I'll be right out. So I ducked in there for a minute. And I come back out and I was like, oh, I don't want to go back to my seat just yet. Let's go look around. And they're getting a little nervous. I think the concert's going to start. Opening band was playing. I forget who they were, but so we end up down by stage left, where, interestingly, the guard that had told me about Cliff was actually working that night.
Oh,
And
cool.
I told the girls, just stand there, watch the band. I'm going to go talk to one of the guys I work with. And he confirmed this is where we were going to meet the person who was coming to pick us up, the entertainment liaison. And sure enough, she came down a few minutes later with the other group that was going up for the meet and greet. And I got the girls like, all right, hey, girls, we're going to go back up. So I grab them, and we go out into the back of the house, which is, what they call the back end of the casino for employees. Of course, my girls looking around, are we allowed to be back here? It's like, you're with us, you're fine. We get in the elevator, we're going up, and my oldest, she's just like, shouldn't we get back to our seats? Are they up here? And it's like, yeah, well, don't worry, we're gonna be there. And my middle one, who's always been, more on the ball, kind of looks at me and looks at the entertainment liaison, and she's like, are the Cranberries up here? I guess you'll just have to find out, right? So we get up into an area right behind where the security offices were. I knew exactly where I was. And the first group was escorted into the green room. So after a couple of minutes, we were called in. So we get in there, and there's the whole band standing there, and my girl's jaws just dropped. I had never seen my oldest caught completely tongue-tied like that before. She's like,
Adorable.
ha, what, how, what, surprise.
So she was stammering, kind of like Tina Belcher.
Exactly. And you know what? Dolores, the Cranberries' lead singer, she, as soon as she saw the girls, she just went to full mommy mode.
Aww.
And she just, they'd worn these special little outfits they'd picked out for themselves, And she's like, oh, girls, I love your style. Because she had that Irish lilt,
Aww.
And so she starts talking to him. I'm talking to the rest of the band. And at one point, she gets my middle one. She's like, and what do you want to be when you grow up? And now, she had always been very vocal at the time about how she wanted to be a principal.
Huh.
Well, in this case, it was all, yeah, I don't know. Principal, remember? Yeah, a principal.
Mm, 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 mm.
So we got a picture taken, and we go back down, and that's when that same guard pulled me aside, and he's like, "Hey, I was told by the sergeant in charge that you and your girls can stand down here in front of the stage." Really? This was a surprise to me. I'm pretty sure that Dolores set that up.
Very
So,
nice.
so instead of being like way up in the balcony, we're down here right in front of the stage. I'd never been that close to a stage before when I wasn't working. Side note: while I was working there, they got a bomb threat against Alice Cooper, and I got to go up and really check out his stage setup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So anyway, Cranberries come out, they start playing, they do a couple of songs, and at that point, Dolores stops her and she's working the crowd, and she's like, "Had the pleasure of meeting these two little girls tonight. One is 8 years old and one is 9. That's them right there. Aren't they cute?" My girl's got
Oh
a
wow.
spotlight put on them, and they're
Wow,
waving.
she's really enamored. That's so adorable.
Oh, and it gets better too because she starts at different points during the show. She's taking accessories off her outfit, tossing them down to the girls.
Hmm.
At one point, took my oldest hand and was singing with her.
Oh wow.
Hmm. And get this, she even addressed me by name at one point.
Wow.
Well, she wrote a song after she had her first child, and so she points me out. She's like, "Ah, yeah, there's their dad, Rob." And I wrote this song after first child, and so I was like, and keep in mind, I was in the middle of going through. Actually, no, the divorce is already over and done with.
Right.
But I was very much single, so I'm kind of standing there, down there, going, "I love you."
Oh, okay. That's kind of hilarious, if I may say so.
Well, what can I say?
I mean, it makes sense. I don't want to belittle your slight grief there, but it's I don't know. I am amused.
Well, the funny thing was is that after they announced her death, there were people
Yeah.
writing to me, like sending me condolence messages, like I'd lost a close friend.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, honestly, I didn't really know her. I just met her once, but thanks.
I mean, shit. I wouldn't have said no. I'd still have been sad about it, but
Oh, I was. Don't get me wrong.
absolutely, absolutely.
I didn't
Yeah.
take it as bad as the girls did.
Yeah, right. You told me they were
But,
horribly heartbroken about that.
well, my oldest locked herself in a room for an hour and cried.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that sounds right.
but yeah, that was an experience. And the next show I saw after that would have been Stone Temple Pilots.
Ah,
Just
very
to,
nice.
so kind of going back, this time they just had more stuff and they were headlining.
Oh, cool.
So, I mean, when I saw them originally, it was just them playing the Core album. This time it was basically everything from Core all the way through the one album with the hand and the peace sign on the cover.
I think that one was just self-titled, although I
Yeah, it
don't quite
was.
remember.
Except
Yeah,
there's two albums called Stone Temple Pilots, so it's
yeah,
like,
that doesn't help, all things considered.
yeah. And there was one song I wanted them to do, but they never did it.
Oh, which one?
Sour Girl.
Oh, that's a great one from number 4.
And this was only a couple years before Scott Weiland died.
Yeah, I will keep saying that it was probably the least surprising early death from drugs in rock history,
Yeah.
but that didn't make it suck any less.
No.
Ugh. Scott really just had problems with that, like, forever. He was infamous for it, like, even when SCP got popular coming in, so.
Mm-hmm.
I hate to say it was inevitable, but it was a real fucking shame nonetheless. But I don't want to be too much of a downer. Carry on.
After that, my concert going days were basically over. I saw Fear Factory one final time, and I don't think I've been to a concert since. Almost got to see Ghost a couple of years ago, but a hurricane had to come through.
Oh, fuck you, God. To quote Peter Steele, if we may. Oh, yeah, we haven't mentioned Type of Negative much up to now.
Oh, we should, but I have one final concert story to tell.
Gladly.
The concert I never made it to.
Oh?
I was supposed to go to Lollapalooza 96.
Oh.
I was going to see Metallica, who also I've never seen them live.
I haven't either.
Soundgarden was going to be there. The Ramones.
Damn.
I made the mistake of going with my friend Bob.
That's when that happened, right?
The wreck to end all wrecks. Anyone who has read earlier editions of Memoirs of a Virtual Caveman or has read my more recent book, Eating Candy in Outer Space, has read this story. Suffice to say, I'm still scarred from the incident. So I won't repeat the whole thing here, but let's just say Bob flipped his car doing about 70 and we landed upside down in a swamp. As such, we never made it to the show.
Yeah. No, that's a god fucking shame. God damn. I would have been less pissed off that I'd almost died and more that I'd missed the show, but that's where my priorities lie.
Well, Kate, I go into a lot more detail in the book. Trust me there.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of been that could have been a good show. I wouldn't know.
Oh well. Well, you got to at least one Lollapalooza. You can put that in your cap.
Yes. Yeah, and got to see Lane Staley live. My oldest is extremely jealous of me that I got to see Lane Staley.
I am fairly as such, and this was back before, like, his public appearances really dropped off for, reasons.
I think that was the last major tour he did.
Shit.
Because I'm pretty sure they had to bow out of a tour with Metallica after that.
Yeah, that's probably when the appearances started. I mean, like, what was, like, the last major live show, note that they ever done, was the one for MTV Unplugged?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Man. Well, for as much as I love AIC, there's always this, sort of wafting melancholy just kind of lingering in the background every time because, like, god damn, that man died way too soon.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, their self-titled album, the three-legged dog one, aka, it's like, Tripod. It's not the most, also known as Tripod, right? It's not the most easily accessible album, but, like, I quite like it in a very morbid way as a sort of portrait of Lane falling off and the rest of the band trying to keep up with it, but still one of the saddest fucking things I can think of in music history. I'm sure. I mean, not that rock music in general isn't fraught with a lot of tragedies. I mean, talking about fucking Nirvana, like, of course.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah. Well,
but if you want to talk a bit about Type O Negative, now's a good time.
Speaking of someone who died way too soon,
also,
yeah. Man, Peter Steele was a very interesting person from what I could tell, and like, he was also like 2 meters tall and just this very snarky, oddly hilarious, very handsome, semi-Slavic man who if there'd be anyone who could be maybe like assumed to be a demigod on Earth, he'd be a person I'd identify as such.
I can tell you one thing: if Mel Brooks had ever decided to remake Young Frankenstein, I could definitely see Peter Steele taking the Peter Boyle part.
That would be kind of great. That would fit pretty well, as it were. But several great albums they've done. Like October Rust is probably like the best album to put on during sex with your significant other. Not that I would know. I mean, literally, I wouldn't, but I'm not going to get
No
into that.
comment.
Yeah, okay. um, but yeah, Bloody Kisses, while a little bit rough, still one I like quite a bit. World Coming Down, huge kick in the nuts of an album, but a very
Downer.
good one. I know, right? Life is Killing Me, pretty well balanced on the whole. Like, I'd maybe say it's probably their like most accessible album if I were to recommend to someone. And Dead Again, real damn good, but sadly their last album ever. Goddamn.
Yeah, it's getting reissued finally, though.
Oh wow, I didn't know that hadn't happened before.
Yeah, I think it's being issued on vinyl for the first time, and there's a CD reissue as well with some live bonus tracks that weren't on the original release.
Oh wow, sweet.
So, yeah. But, yeah, that was another band I always wanted to see live, but never was able to.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to downplay the other members' contributions, Kenny, Josh, and Johnny, but it's like it just felt like Steele himself was just such a commanding fucking presence that when he passed on, the other ones didn't try to pull a calling all stations and try and carry on. They just felt it was over then, and
Yeah.
sad though it is, I do unfortunately respect that.
Speaking of calling all stations,
That's how I fucking introduced my second favorite band on the... God damn it.
yeah, you're the one that did it.
I did. We call that a self-own, I suppose. I'll just give myself one quack.
I mean, I would have led into it with the album that had, Home by the Sea on it, which I can't remember the title of off the top of my head.
Well, you don't have to. It was a self-titled.
Oh, there you go, Genesis.
I call it the Shapes album, though, as per its, or just Shapes as per its cover. Yeah, Genesis is like a tale of two bands because they're the era where Peter Gabriel led from their start up to their sixth album, The Lamb Lies Down on Broadway, to when Phil Collins took over, from A Trick of the Tail to We Can't Dance are two very different bands. A Trick of the Tail is sort of transitionary, like they were still kind of rooted in their sort of prog air, sort of basis there.
Very
but
British.
yeah, oh yeah, they are indeed British.
They're
But
British.
by the time of Duke, they had really gone full blown into their more accessible pop era, which I think really has a lot of great tracks in it. Like, I mean, like Rob mentioned, the Home by the Sea duology is excellent. I would say that also that their self-titled is absolutely the height of the Collins era. It's just too bad it's also the one that has Illegal Alien on it, but they can't all be zingers.
Yeah, that was... What were they thinking?
I mean, I read that, being that they're Brits themselves, like, they had, like, trouble, they had, like, some sort of visa trouble when they were in America, and it didn't necessarily come from a bad place, it's just the end result looked a little dubious, mildly insensitive, so that, it wasn't done out of malice, it's just, I think, kind of a whiff on their end is all.
What gets me is they released that as a single, and Just a Job to Do is not.
That's bogus. I love that song. Just
Yeah.
seriously, Mama would have been great, even though I guess its content isn't exactly family friendly. Silver Rainbow would have been great, but that's the one that had to become a fucking single. I don't know. What the hell?
Yeah. But yeah, then of course there's the not very well remembered third vocalist of Genesis.
Yeah, Ray Wilson, from a band I hadn't heard of called Stiltskin that Tony and Mike had basically brought in to try and continue on Genesis because I guess their relations with Phil just kind of deteriorated. I think how it works, or at least what I want to believe, is that his solo career took off to a point where he didn't really need Genesis anymore, and And I guess Tony and Mike felt a little bit sour grapes about it. I mean, they have since reconciled, but I can imagine that, yeah, for the time. I can kind of understand where they were coming from, but trying to do Genesis without what would have been I mean, it's funny because Genesis did manage to carry on without their most identifiable face, but that tactic only worked once. So when they tried to do again what they did with with Peter Gabriel gone and, Steve Hackett having left after Wind and Wuthering, and now that Phil went away, I mean, I almost want to respect Tony and Mike for having the balls to still try and make an album, but part of me also thinks, no, you guys are idiots, you should not have done this. I will say this, though. For what is unquestionably their worst album, for the weakest link of a 15-album legacy, Calling All Stations is not the worst thing I heard. I think it has a few cuts that aren't... That I wouldn't kick out of bed for eating lasagna, so to speak. I think Congo is actually a pretty good song.
No,
I think the dividing line, if not a little over long, is actually pretty decent. I want to say Alien Afternoon wasn't bad. Again, a little over long, but it still felt like it sort of rung on the edges of some of their earlier days here and there. But by and large, it was very clear that the band was over at this point. Although, like I said, Phil would reconcile with Tony and Mike, and they would go touring again for a while. But they cut that out because Phil Collins is not in the best health, and I'm going to be very sad when he passes away, which I don't know when that'll be. But god damn it, I keep making it depressing, and fuck, I'm sorry.
All right, well, let me hit you with this.
Please do.
Well, it was recently Phil's birthday.
Oh yeah, really?
And I saw a post somewhere. It was like, "Happy birthday, Phil Collins," and they had a video link to it.
Oh my god, it was 2 days ago. Holy shit.
Yeah, and so I'm expecting, something maybe from Genesis or one of his solo albums. No, they used the freaking song he did for Tarzan. And basically credit him as such, he did some of the best songs from Disney movies, and it's like, wait. You're talking about the guy with the successful solo career starting in the 80s there, and you're talking about the guy who was the lead singer and drummer for Genesis, and this is how you remember him? As the Disney song guy? I thought that was Elton John.
Yeah, anyway, I mean, that is even more disingenuous than just calling Giancarlo Esposito the chicken guy from Breaking Bad. I mean, yes, sure, that's a huge identifiable role for him, but it wasn't all he had done. For Phil, though, I'm sure the Tarzan thing was just a paycheck to him. Why the fuck would you remember that for that?
Yeah. I put it like this, though, because Disney has gotten both Phil and Peter to do songs for their movies.
Oh, yeah. Peter did the credits music for WALL-E. That's right.
Yep. And I put it like this. When Disney hired Phil Collins to do songs for their movies, he wrote Disney songs.
Mm-hmm.
When they hired Peter Gabriel to do songs, he did Peter Gabriel songs.
Absolutely. That's a good way of putting it. I mean, I'm, as evidenced by my choice of Avatar, which is just a very serendipitously great shot, I am a gigantic fan of Peter Gabriel. I would consider him maybe my favorite solo artist, in addition to Genesis being my second favorite band. Now, for as much as I think Phil Collins is excellent, I'm not as fond of most of his solo stuff on the whole. There are some good cuts he's done, but when he gets into the more schmaltzy stuff, I'm not as big on that. But Gabriel, though, like, his albums have just been fan-goddamn-tastic. They go into some very interesting moods, sometimes dark, sometimes playful. He wrote a song about Steve Biko on the same album that gave us Games Without Frontiers. That's quite an interesting range. I just, like, he became mega huge with So, and even Hoosier than before, if he wasn't already, and You know, even way into the 90s, the crazy fucking music video for Sledgehammer was played a lot as I grew up, and I was just fascinated by the bizarre visuals, if nothing else, even before I recognized the music for as catchy as it was.
Now,
Let me check something.
Kate, you want to know who my favorite Disney song guy is? I would say it's Edwin.
Oh, really?
Yeah. You know, simply because of Alice in Wonderland.
That makes sense.
Yeah, usually he did that, Very Merry on Birthday.
Hmm.
And
Oh, that would sound right.
yeah, he played the Mad Hatter, and I forget who played the March Hare, but well, have you seen Disney's Alice in Wonderland, the animated movie?
I'm not sure if I have, and if I have, it's been a while, so I don't know what to tell you.
Well, if you have, then you probably remember the Mad Hatter scene.
Not off the top of my head. I guess I didn't. Shit.
He was also in Mary Poppins, Son of Flubber. Let's see, Babes in Toyland.
Oh.
Actually, he was in a ton of stuff, not just Disney. Oh, and The Gnome Mobile, which was released after his death. That was his last Disney movie. Based on the 1936 book The Gnome Mobile by Upton Sinclair. And yes, I believe it's that Upton Sinclair.
Gnome mobile? Like fucking garden gnomes?
Yes.
What the fuck? Wow, that's, I guess I don't know enough about Upton Sinclair's work. I just know he was the jungle guy. This sounds very different from the jungle.
I did not expect to find out The Gnome Mobile was written by him.
That's definitely a today I learned fact.
Yep.
Huh.
The Gnome Mobile, riding around in the Gnome Mobile.
I haven't even heard of the Gnome Mobile before just now, too, so, like, this is double weird.
Keep in mind, my mother used to rent all these different Disney movies all the time when I was a kid. And the Gnome Mobile was one of them.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but was your mother big on musicals?
Yes.
Right. I believe you might have said as such. That's right.
Well, there are a lot of musicals I like, and some of them do come from the classic era. Like, well, for example, let's look at the movie On the Town.
I'm not sure if I know that one.
Well, you know The Simpsons reference it.
Oh, Springfield.
Yes.
New York is that away, man. That's right.
That aside from one number, which I kind of have a tendency to fast forward whenever I watch the movie, for the most part, I mean, it's Gene Kelly and Frank Sinatra, and the other guy who I think Jules Munchin was his name. But it's basically three sailors on leave and on an overnight pass in New York City, and they want to see everything, and they end up all finding women. Including Miss Turnstiles. But she's kind of the one that Gene Kelly's character is trying to find throughout the entire movie.
Ah, gotcha.
But yeah, there's songs all over the place in that movie. So, and since we are talking about music here, that is a viable subject.
Yeah.
So,
Sitting on the edge of movies, at least, if nothing else.
Well, look at how many songs from movies became huge hits outside the movies they were part of.
I mean, yeah, not even songs of vocals. Like, even there used to be a point where, like, even just like instrumental soundtracks were as revered as radio songs, and I feel like you just don't hear that as much nowadays.
But then, think of stuff like, say, Grease, for example.
Of course, yes.
There were a lot of songs from that soundtrack which made, like radio airplay and whatnot. And yes, Danger Zone, Kenny Loggins, Top Gun.
Lotta. Are you Kenny Loggins? Because you're coming close to the danger zone. Had to fit in the arbitrary Archer reference there. I had to continue. I don't know much about Archer, but I saw the first season and I thought it was pretty entertaining.
I watched the Bob's Burger episode.
Right. They somehow did a crossover, right? Well, not that weird because, H. John Benjamin voices both Archer and Bob, but, like, that was meta. That was weird.
Yeah. And, every musical has had, songs that have actually made it into popular music, I guess you could say.
Oh, shit. Sorry about that, Kate. I did lean in very close. That was my fault.
Well, except for maybe some of the lesser known musicals, but still.
I can only say for sure that there are two musical movies that I like, and even so, one of them is only, I guess, partially musical. I'm not sure what the consensus is on that. One of those being Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
It qualifies.
Yeah, well enough. Although, unfortunately, I do have to agree, Cheer Up Charlie isn't great. That's the point where everyone just sits up and gets a beer. I gotcha.
Pretty much, yes.
Yeah. I'm sorry, Charlie's mom. Just, like, this is filler. Just, what the fuck?
Yeah. Now, I do like Singing in the Rain.
I still have not seen that. I know I should someday.
It is Singing in the Rain is I like it because they look at when Hollywood was transitioning from silent movies to talkies.
Yeah, and it was a big audacious production that really kind of buried that in.
And there was some funny stuff in that about that.
Yeah, they went all out from. I owe it to myself to see it someday. That's fair.
And now, okay, Kate has a question not related to movie musicals here. Have either of us discovered any recent music we enjoy, like from the past 5 years or so? Well, you want to go first, Mike?
Yeah, I mean, I mentioned Local H, and while I had always liked a few of the songs they did, their biggest one being Bound from the Floor. You probably know that one if you've heard it as and you just don't get it, you keep it copacetic.
Wait, hold it, before you copyright strike.
Yeah, okay, fair.
Kate, did you mean like recent music in the sense of new artists or just stuff we discovered that might have been around for years? And
right.
I've never seen that myself.
We did mention Dua Lipa. I think that would be the closest thing to qualify. Like, for the most part, like, except for Ghost, who is something really special. If a band started past 2000, they're probably not going to be a favorite of mine. I hate to sound like a stodgy old person in that. Oh yeah. I do really like what I've heard of TV on the Radio, but they formed in 2001. Stuff from actual 2020. Oh god, what was even like? It's not in so much that I dislike modern music, although you could probably say that I do, but it's just that I don't know a lot of it either. Snarb, you did send me. Yeah, I thought it was good, but I kind of forgot that I listened to it. I'm so sorry. My brain just doesn't retain a lot of what I listen to anymore, and that's on me. That's on me.
I've heard the occasional single from more recent artists that I've liked, but not enough to actually pursue any of their albums or anything like that. Dua Lipa being the lone exception. And I think her first album is from 2017.
Yeah, this is the point where I have to admit that, I think I have a cutoff point for the music that I love. There's still music that happens today that I like, but I'm not sure. Hey, Logan.
Logan.
Womp womp. Oh geez, I'm even looking through like what songs were big in 2021. I have not heard any of this Scrolling down,
There
Morning
are a couple
Glory.
bands from this century that I was introduced to in the last few years that I've liked. At least I'm pretty sure they're from this century. One would be Sabaton, another would be the Birthday Massacre.
Yeah, yeah. I'm actually surprised you found two new bands that you appreciate that much. I still feel like I'm just I don't know if I'm necessarily depriving myself of getting into more stuff, but I think more so for me than you, I just kind of have a cutoff point for the type of music I can appreciate. Like,
Yes, Bats. And
like
Logan, you've hit upon my eternal struggle.
yeah, I want to say I tilt a little more towards Permanent Waves if I had to choose, but it's an inevitable choice to make. And yeah, I do snarb. I guess I need an education, but at the same time, might I ask what is the deal with Billie Eilish? I don't really get her. I'm sorry.
You can ask, but Sharon brought up a legitimate point. There is someone we know who is in a band.
Yeah, our friend Tim. Oh, I haven't
Yes,
heard from him in a
the
while. Hope he's doing okay.
they just released a new song.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Excellent. Good
they're
to hear
called Bathroom of the Future, and
that.
it's basically described as like how does he put it, like post-punk nerdcore or something like that. I mean, come on, he wrote a song where he incorporated the title "Forgotten Worlds" and actually rhymed it with something.
That's pretty amazing.
But yeah, I should throw up a link to their stuff here in the comments.
Yeah, definitely give a plug.
Oh yeah,
Uh, and yes, Narb, maybe I should do that at some point. Kate, I probably haven't. I mean, I guess I just have to admit this. I'm actually kind of conservative on the type of music I listen to. It takes a lot for any band nowadays to like really work their way into my mind rent free, but I don't know. I have I am kind of old-ish when it comes to the music that I want to keep in my brain, and this makes me sound very closed-minded, and I fully accept that I probably am.
and Logan, I have to actually agree with you a bit on Moving Pictures, and that's simply because for years it's been held up as "quote unquote" the Rush album. You know,
I mean, it was the one I started on, and it is certainly a very good place to start, but I don't know, maybe just through overexposure, I do have to
yeah.
admit that Tom Sawyer and Limelight have tarnished out just a little bit on my end, and I, it's still a great album, but I'm not even sure I put it in my top five now. But, yeah,
I
Sharon,
don't. So
I guess old school isn't a bad way of putting it, although that's generous. Frankly, I just think it means that what's the word yeah, like I said, closed-minded. That's the best I can think of, and I'll try to open that mind, but I don't know. I just kind of want to stick with what I know that I love lately. I will say this. I guess it was inevitable that someone had to bring this up, so I'm going to. I used to be with it, but then they changed what it was. Now what I'm with isn't it, and what's it sounds weird and scary to me. It'll happen to you.
now, where was this the last time we streamed?
Probably our last. I mean, the last stream was a fucking Simpsons stream, so that was probably it.
Now, Logan, you mentioned Olivia Rodrigo, and I can never exactly how to pronounce her name. Chappelle Rowan,
Roan or whatever, I don't
yeah,
know.
Roan
Yeah.
maybe. I never would have known about them if it wasn't for my middle daughter.
Yeah, yeah, she can definitely inform you of what's hot today. I appreciate that you have a cipher like that. In my case, I guess I just need to put in the work, but at the same time, I just get distracted by playing video games instead. That's my pathetic excuse. I'm sorry.
Well, it's interesting because out of my two oldest, they both have very different tastes, and they dress to reflect that. My oldest is very much dark, not exactly goth, but she can pull off the look. And she listens to a lot of stuff that you might not expect. That's a lot of my influence.
Sisters of Mercy?
If she hasn't heard them, pretty much guarantee she'd like them. I did play her Peter Murphy for the first time recently, and she was just like, "Oh, this is so fantastic."
Oh, nice.
Mm-hmm. Now, my middle one, on the other hand, she is very, very light. It's like she dresses like in pinks and blues and listens to stuff like the Olivia Rodrigo and whatnot. So, yeah, I see there's a Rush discussion going on here in the chat. So,
Oh, wow.
yes, I like Getty's voice quite a bit. He's a fantastic bassist, and the man can do bass, synth, and sing at the same time. So,
Yeah, he's a triple threat, as it were. I well understand that Getty's voice is an acquired taste, and it's you were being civil about it. I appreciate it.
mm-hmm.
I understand that he won't certainly register with everyone, and that is completely fine. If anyone says that about Rush, I can't even be disappointed because even I know it's definitely unique to the extent that might not really register with everyone's tone. But to say that Geddy Lee sucks would get you automatically booted out of here. Just a warning. But there is a hot button that hits me whenever anyone accuses them of being an objectivist band just because Neil went through a fucking phase that he has since gotten out of and apologized for, so shut the fuck up already.
Well, hey. Now, as far as counter culture, like, I don't really keep up with a lot of that, so I couldn't tell you.
Music is music. I don't really, identify with anything being of certain movements or whatever. I just like what I like. I don't like to.
I identify with somewhat of being a hermit, so I don't usually get to see this kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess I do to an extent as well. And yes, Bats, James LaBrie does sound a bit like Geddy at points. That is fair. I mean,
well, he, was influenced by Geddy, so there is that.
Definitely much more so in DT's early phase, particularly Images and Words in Awake. I believe, unfortunately, James caught a bit of food poisoning that did a bit of permanent damage to his chords, so from Scenes from Memory onward, his register had to be a little lower, but that didn't make him any worse of a singer, I felt, because Scenes of the Memory is a fucking great album.
And Freddie Mercury was a phenomenal singer.
Yeah, here's the thing. Sometimes whenever some certain thing gets talked up as being the greatest of all time, and there's like a list where they're inevitably number one, I just kind of roll my eyes and think, oh, real fucking original. If I ever see Freddie Mercury considered to be the number one greatest vocalist of all time, I'm not gonna fucking argue. He was a goddamn legend, and he had charisma out the ass infinitely. He was amazing, to say the least. I do like Queen quite a bit. It's been a while since I plunged into their catalog, but yeah, I'm definitely a fan. They're actually my brother's favorite band. And my brother's arguably a bigger music head than I am. Like, holy shit, he's into a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff that I couldn't even begin to tell you what it is. I just mostly stick to my, like, white bread prog rock ass bubble for the most part, but even above all the bands that he knows that I don't, Queen is still his favorite, and I think the favorite album is actually their second one, just called Queen 2, even above like A Night at the Opera and whatnot, so, respect.
This whole thing kind of reminds me of something I saw once. It was a Marvel meme where Thor was being taken to task for going to hell to bring back Loki. You know, and like Tony is just going off, and I was like, "You could have brought back anyone, and you brought back Loki." It's like, yeah, he's listing names, and you could have brought back Freddie Mercury, and Thor's like, "But he was my brother," and then Loki's like, "I too would have preferred Freddie Mercury."
That is pretty great.
Oh, Logan, no comment.
Yeah. Let me see. Where else do I want to go? What are just some of my other favorites? I mean, like, what would be like the musical equivalent of a virtual caveman? Because I think I might have hit that point harder than you have. I'm not sure.
Well, let's see. Perhaps you listen to the popular music of the 1850s.
So an audio aristocrat? I don't know. I don't fucking know. Yeah. I only listen to Mozart and Bach. Maybe the occasional Beethoven. Womp womp.
I believe you did, actually, Logan, yes. That was thrilling. I want to move off this subject now.
Yeah, we're trying to keep it relatively positive-ish tonight, so maybe we'll save that for another stream.
But, something I'd like to touch on here is, genres that we don't actually usually listen to, but we've actually found some stuff which we've really liked. Take me, for example. I am no fan of whatever country music is. Whether it's this modern country or whether it's country western or, that new stuff is like, I got a beer in my beer and a Chevy in my truck. But there is one singer, though, which her voice just snagged me when I heard her. And it was just like, I need to know who this angel-voiced woman is. And it ended up being Martina McBride. To date, that is the only anything by a country singer that I own, is the album I first heard by her. And I can tell you, this happened in the mid-90s, so I was like really smack in the middle of I listen to rock and metal, and that's pretty much it. Everyone who heard me playing that just like got completely shocked. But yeah, it's sometimes her stuff can lean a little too much into the kind of country I don't like, the twangy stuff. But still, it's just her voice. Just that's what did it for me. Now, yeah, you get people like Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash, and those guys are legends. So, now, I'm not on the subject of the Doors here. I'm not what you'd call a huge fan, but I don't dislike them either. So,
yeah, I'm the same way on the Doors. They've done some good stuff. They've done some alright stuff that I don't care as much for. I just find the cult that formed around Jim Morrison to be bizarre. Like, where's that whole fucking Lizard King thing come from? I don't even know.
You got me on that one.
Yeah, it's weird. But I guess, sort of one of those, like, dead artist things where, he joined Club 27, so of course he's going to be considered a cult figure after his death. But
yeah. And yes, Independence Day is a great song. But yeah, Club 27, that's so many musicians in that club.
Too many, yeah.
What
Um,
what about you though for genres you don't usually listen to?
well, I do own one country album, and that's 12 Golden Country Greats by Ween.
Hmm.
It's legitimate too. Only one song on there isn't really country, but it's yeah, no, Piss Up a Rope is actually pretty legit in that end. I am a huge fan of Ween. I know Rob's not as into them, but he did listen to the Mollusk and actually like it.
That was a solid album. I was genuinely shocked.
It's really fucking good. Yeah, it's it or Chocolate and Cheese would probably be where I recommend anyone start with them. They're just really eclectic. They're a very weird band, and they do just some stupid bullshit when they want to, but they are capable of also making stuff that is, I'd say, almost beautiful. They're very interesting. I just find their huge range to be as interesting as it is. It's kind of hard to really lump them into one genre almost. Yes, Logan. It was their fifth album, released in between Chocolate and Cheese and the Mollusk. The band is Ween, Ween. Gene and Dean Ween. Really, Aaron Freeman, Mickey Melchiondo, but I guess I'm a huge fan of them also because they like got their start like only like 2 hours from where I live, so they're kind of like semi-local boys in a way. So yeah, Chocolate and Cheese is excellent. Yes, I'd say at this point, give them yeah, huh? I didn't know you lived in Reading, Logan. I'll be damned. Nice.
Yeah.
But I do know one place where you might have heard them. They did the song Ocean Man, which played during the credits of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie, so that's pretty neat. But anyway, yeah, more genres. I do like the occasional bit of electronica and techno. One of my other absolute favorite bands is the great Japanese super trio Yellow Magic Orchestra. And I love almost everything they've done. I guess their last album, Technodon, was just not. It was a little off, but for the most part, yeah, YMO is excellent. Really sucks we lost both Yukihiro Takahashi and Ryuichi Sakamoto on the same year, which I think was 2 years ago by now. But
also, Bats, I can say I've never heard of them before.
Yeah, Osric Tentacles. The name sounds a little bit familiar, but I'm not all that sure. What else? I mean, I do like Daft Punk quite a bit. I guess that's a little unoriginal, and also they're broken up now, but hey, it's still good shit. Discovery is still just a hell of an album to listen to. What can I say?
And Sharon brought up Deadmau5.
I liked Deadmau5. I had a phase where I did, but I'm not so much into them anymore. And I think Deadmau5 himself is like he has said some apparently bad opinions, quote unquote, lately. So I'm just kind of over him. It is what it is. Yeah, no, Chocolate and Cheese, really eclectic, goddamn variations on of what the fuck they can do. So I understand if no other album really hit like that, but I love the Mollusk. I love Quebec. White Pepper's really good. I don't want to make this a Ween chat necessarily, so back to... I do like Kraftwerk a lot, techno, early krautrock band that has released some very semi-minimalist but surprisingly catchy electronica that I like a lot. I like what I know of Underworld, the guys who did that one track that you might know from Train Spotting, which I can't remember what it's called now. And I do like the occasional sprit of new wave as well. I like New Order, I think, is some really good stuff.
Yes.
Totally. I like the occasional bit of the Pet Shop Boys, and Talking Heads is great as well. Remain in Light is one of the greatest albums ever made. And they've done some other good stuff aside from that. But
I see Sharon mentioned Crash Test Dummies, who a lot of people, yeah, a lot of people wrote them off as a one-hit wonder because of that alone song. But you know,
but
there is one song on that album I will always stand by as being a fantastic song, and that
oh, what's that?
is Two Nights and Maidens.
I'm gonna have to look that one up too because I'm not sure if I've heard it before.
It tells a story.
Let me see.
Oh, that's neat.
Gotcha.
And yes, October Rust was a monumental album. That's absolutely.
Completely and absolutely. Yeah, hell of a production on it. Trying to think what else is. Oh yes, yes. I do ever hate to admit this because I'm a little self-conscious about how it makes me look, but I'm not really huge into rap and hip hop. I must admit. But Enter the Wu-Tang 36 Chambers is an immortal album, and I do really like A Tribe Called Quest a hell of a lot. Midnight Marauders, no wait, The Lowland Theory, fucking amazing. Midnight Marauders is pretty damn good too.
There's only one problem with that there.
What's up?
You're not in the Wu-Tang Clan. You're not even in the Tribe Called Quest, asshole.
Wait, what was that from?
Dennis Leary.
Wow, I can't believe I mentioned the two bands they called out specifically.
Yep.
Wow, I did not even intend that.
You know,
Also, if you wanted to talk Dennis Leary, how about this story for you? I'm drunk, I'm famous, I'm drunk, I'm nobody, I'm drunk, I'm fucking dead. That's your The Doors movie, okay?
Rich, you know, I've heard every single one of those, and they're not bad. I'm not a huge bluegrass fan, but they're not bad at all.
There's this one band, what are they called? Alison Krauss and the Union Station. I know that my brother likes them. I don't know much about them myself, but
I did also like what little I heard of the Mutual Admiration Society.
them I don't know about.
Well, they had, it was, if Chris was here on the stream, he could tell me. It was the band from one bluegrass band, but they had Todd Phillips from Toad the Wet Sprocket as the vocalist.
Oh shit, interesting.
I do like Toad the Wet Sprocket, so. This Toad's the Wet Sprocket.
I was gonna mention that. That is one of my favorite lines ever uttered on Futurama. But
If you're talking about Afternoons and Coffee Spoons, Logan, that would be a song on God Shuffled His Feet by Crash Test Dummies.
wait a minute, I actually do have at least one artist from 2020 that I can say I like. That being, and also doubling as like the biggest thing in hip hop right now. I really like what I've heard of Kendrick Lamar. He didn't really, I didn't really get him at first, but he really grew on me, and yeah, it's some very good stuff. And wow, that takedown of Drake is just vicious and hilarious. Like, fucking wow.
I've heard the name Kendrick Lamar. That's about all I can tell you.
Totally fair.
And I see Logan is not a fan of Dennis Leary. And yes, there is that whole thing with Bill Hicks. But, of course, we're not here to talk stand-up comedy.
I would not be able to contribute a lot to that if that was a round table, unfortunately. So
yeah, I actually heard Leary before I heard Hicks. So, and this goes back years. So we'll just leave it at that.
yeah, let's.
As far as rap and hip-hop on my end, there's some stuff from, the early 90s and the 80s that I enjoyed. Let's see. There was Cypress Hill.
Good. Very good.
There was Onyx.
Ah, yes.
Let's not forget Run DMC.
Oh, of course. Fuck, they were classics.
And another was Digital Underground.
Tricky. Oh, yeah, yeah. Shock G and a.k.a. Humpty Hump.
Yep, the Humpty Dance. Boy.
Let's not address that, Logan. Let's not.
Let's just move on, shall we? Yeah, let's just kind of
Womp.
circle back around to classical music.
Oh yeah.
There's so many good pieces out there, movements and whatnot, But I kind of lean more towards classical's greatest hits, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
So, let me see. Classical. I'm also a big fan of piano music.
Yeah, I could definitely do to listen to more of that myself, but I can't say if there's a classical track that's really worth a damn. There's a non-zero chance I have probably heard it in at least one video game up to now.
Speaking of which, Toccata and Fugue in D minor by Bach.
The Gradius, the Gyrus music, you fucking idiot.
Now get this. Have you ever heard any of his other stuff?
Bach?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one, I can't remember what it was called, but a track he did actually was Solu Belmont's boss theme in Belmont's Revenge.
I'm not sure if that was actually... Was that Bach?
Huh. Hang on, let me look this up. Solu
I'll just say this much. I remember hearing a CD that had, recordings of all of his stuff on there. Or at least his most famous works. Most of it sounded like your typical kind of garden party royalty kind of stuff.
Mm.
And all of a sudden, Toccata and Fugue in D minor comes up, and it's like, whoa, what happened? Did Bach just go into his punk phase?
It probably was really punk for the time, yeah. Yes, Castlevania 2, Belmont's Revenge for the Game Boy used J.S. Bach's Chromatische Fantasie as a boss battle theme.
Ah, okay.
And also, I don't know if he counts as classic because I think he was early 20th century, but how do you pronounce it? Passipede? I don't know,
yes.
But by Claude Debussy was actually the penultimate, or, last full stage music, the latter part of Dracula's Castle in that game, too. So, that's weird. It's like Castlevania had not used any music outside of Konami's composers, and then suddenly 2 classical music tracks in Belmont's Revenge for some reason. Yeah, I wonder if that was a measure because they were, running out of time or whatever, but I have no idea. It worked. It worked very well, whatever it is.
Yeah. I will say it's pretty predictable when it comes to me and Debussy like that, because I like Pacified or Passipede, however you pronounce it. But my favorite movement by him is Clair de Lune.
Clair de Lune, yeah. I mean, I'm not going to argue if that's popped up in several places. It may almost be cliche now, but it's still great. What can I say?
It is such a tranquil song.
It's a great mood, and as it were, that Clair de Lune and Passipede are the latter 2 parts of actually overall work he did called the Suite Bergamasque. I believe if I'm pronouncing that right.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, we it sounds like we're discussing Wittgenstein over a game of backgammon right now. I feel enlightened.
Tell me more.
The movie My Dinner with Andre ended with Gymnopédie by Eric Satie, if I'm pronouncing that. I'm probably pronouncing that terribly wrong. But my classical music knowledge is fairly surface level.
Yeah,
but I would definitely like to get more into it. I think there's a lot that I could certainly stand to explore.
Now, Holst in the Planets. That was, if I remember correctly, George Lucas originally wanted that to be the soundtrack to Star Wars.
And you can hear definitely very similar mood to Mars, Bringer of War in the Imperial March. Mm-hmm. That was kind of like his ersatz version of it, almost.
Yeah, I forget why he couldn't use it, but he wasn't able to do it, so he got John Williams. And, Williams himself, sure. A lot of people say, well, he's just done movie scores, but those are some phenomenal movie scores.
Shut up. He's the king of music scores, people. Come on.
Exactly. And yeah, he might have ripped a lot of classical pieces off, but what he constructed out of them was great stuff.
He did really make him his own, yeah.
Mhm.
Um, I think I wanted to bring up at least one more. Oh yeah, I am familiar with, and I'm probably butchering this name again. Modest Mussorgsky's Pictures at an Exhibition. I have also listened to Emerson, Lake and Palmer's take on Pictures at an Exhibition, which is considered one of the most blatantly indulgent and pretentious albums maybe ever in existence. At least that's the feeling that I get, but I do like it. It's just so audacious that it ends up in a very interesting spot, if I feel. Yeah, ELP, if you want to talk prog rock, they are very core to that. Not everyone's gonna like them, but you do have to at least admit that whatchamacallit, Carnival 9 First Impression Part 2 is a great song, so if nothing else.
All right, Kate. You have a good night.
Yeah, thank you for tuning in, Kate. Thank you so much. Always great to have you here. You take care. Have a good night too.
Also, Sharon, the group you're thinking of was Information Society.
I wanna know. Well, oh no, I don't want to copyright strike again.
Nope.
Pure energy.
But let's not forget, too, that one piece of music actually also did make it into a game.
Oh, what's that?
Ozar Midrashim from the Don't Be Afraid album made it into Soul Reaver.
I
Okay.
never knew that.
Yeah, if you watch the opening where Kane basically rips off Sam would know all about this. Basically rips off the main character's wings and chucks him into a pit, and that's what they're playing there is Ozar Midrashim by Information Society.
This is really the first time I've heard of that. I'm gonna have to credit Sam with that. I know he's a huge Soul Reaver fan, so
Oh yeah.
I'll be damned.
Yes, that actually I have that same one myself. That was just the self-titled Information Society album.
Wow.
And
I do know that Info Society's frontman Kurt Larson, he actually did compose for a few Genesis games. Although the only one I can think of now, no, that he did was X-Men 2: Clone Wars, and yeah, I can hear some similar beats in that game's soundtrack to InfoSock's music. So that's pretty crazy.
yeah,
Snarver used to,
Instock is good stuff.
yeah, definitely.
Logan, I'd recommend checking out Hello World.
Mm.
And
Oh,
as far as their album, Peace and Love Incorporated was good.
oh, there's a
And
lot to catch up on here.
I'm not a huge fan of Hack, but it's a decent album. And Don't Be Afraid is a major turn for them. It's nothing like their earlier stuff.
Hmm. I really have to look into them more. Shit.
And well, Depeche Mode is Depeche Mode. You know, they got
Yeah,
some good
they're
stuff.
they're a favorite of mine too. I guess maybe their later albums don't stick around quite as much, but anything they've done from the '80s and okay, maybe not so much. Let's just say this: everything between Some Great Reward and Ultra, I would say, is very much worth listening to. Yes, yeah, he did, Logan. If you can believe that. There's also an unfinished game on the Genesis called Nightmare Circus, which is a huge clusterfuck of a game, but the music's pretty damn good on it, and Kurt did that too. And also, kudos to Logan and Richard for also being ELP fans. Yes, Brain Salad Surgery is a fantastic album. Also, Sharon talking about novelty songs. Well, I like Pac-Man Fever more than Disco Duck, I'll give you that.
I own the Pac-Man Fever LP.
I believe I remember you saying that. Yeah, that makes sense.
And Sharon, that's all you need to say about that. It's not even really a song. It's more just looped samples.
And yeah, we did mention Duran Duran, and yes, they're excellent. We definitely have to. I think I could stand to listen to them more. Funny thing is, one of their favorite songs they've done is actually one from the 90s, if you can believe it. I just really find Electric Barbarella incredibly catchy.
Oh, it is.
Awesome.
That was one of the songs they played when I saw them live.
Oh wow, that's excellent. Also, V2 a kill, top 5 Bond theme, maybe top 3. Hard to say if it'd be my favorite because my name is fucking amazing, but it's peak.
Mm-hmm. And they
They did a Frogger song? The son of a bitch. Did I ever hear that?
pluck your magic twanger, Froggy.
Okay, I gotta look this up later.
Oh yeah, there's songs about, let's see, asteroids, Defender, Centipede, Berserk, Donkey Kong, and of course Pac-Man.
Excellent.
In fact, I remember Sharon, when we were kids, she actually bought the Pac-Man Fever 45 single. B-side was Do the Donkey Kong.
Okay, that's pretty amazing.
So, yeah, fun times. But getting back to Information Society real quick, there's a band that is forever intertwined with them in my mind, even though they're not really even from the same genre. It's just that this happened to be the two bands in rotation at the time. The other band would be Jesus Jones.
Oh yeah, right here, right now.
Not even that album, actually. This was when the album Perverse came out.
Zeros and Ones. That's right.
Yes.
That's a really good song. That's actually a surprisingly good song. Yes.
That album is pretty much unknown and extremely underrated.
Excellent.
It is not the kind of stuff that people came to expect off of the Doubt album. So
Sweet.
they could have easily gone into like full industrial after that if they'd wanted to, but they didn't.
Yeah, I forget if I've ever listened to that one full, but aside from Zeros and Ones, which is great, that's definitely one I could do to check out more.
Magazine is good. What else was on there that was really good? Let me look it up real quick. I could tell you. All right, Jesus Jones.
Well, Sharon, I guess we had to mention video games at some point. I mean, that's why
it was going to happen because of the musical association.
I mean, hey, there's a lot of video game music I love. Maybe we could even do an entire stream on that someday. But
we could easily.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. Some of my favorite songs off the Perverse album. You got Zeros and Ones, Get a Good Thing, Magazine, The Right Decision, Spiral, and Idiot Stare.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. But one thing, Buzzcock. I never really heard the Buzzcocks, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's punk, so I'm not sure I really have much comment on it.
Mm-hmm. Now, I will say, if we were just to talk about a little more video game and music stuff here for a minute, we have to mention Journey.
Yeah, you know what? That's fair.
Because you had the Atari 2600 Journey game where maybe I have, Logan.
Yeah, the Journey 2600 game where you gotta avoid them shifty concert promoters
and the love crazed groupies.
Yep.
The arcade game was a little more interesting, but that was actually the first game to use digitized graphics.
Yeah, that's right. They had the little heads of the band in there, with looking a little uncanny, but in my opinion, also quite funny.
Yeah, you controlled the digitized heads of Journey's members on cartoon bodies.
Yep.
And of course, that eventually spun out, and later on, you had more musical artists who were involved in video games, like Michael Jackson. He has to be brought up. The Moonwalker game that came out. Or should I say, one of the 3 different Moonwalker games that came out.
Well, there's the arcade and the Genesis one. Are you also counting the SMS one? Because that was really more of a... that was similar to the Genesis one.
Yeah, it's close to the Genesis one, but there's enough to make it different.
Okay, fair enough.
The arcade game, though, wildly different from the rest.
Yeah, that one's almost more like a overhead beat 'em up. It's a weird fucking but interesting one, if I do say so.
Mm-hmm. And, they had other stuff here and there. Of course, when, rhythm games and whatnot started to gain prominence, that's when, you got stuff like Guitar Hero and stuff like that. So that by itself could get its own stream. But it was at least worth a mention.
Totally.
So, not a fan of Journey, eh, Logan? Well,
I will have to say this. I am very tired of Don't Stop Believing. That one's been overplayed. I'm sorry. Put it to rest. I'm sorry.
Any way you want it, Mike.
I'm not the hugest fan of that one or Lights, for the record. What about The Sky Can Stay, though?
I don't listen to Lights or Love and Touch and Squeezing for a reason.
Well, that's a song name. That certainly exists.
Mm-hmm. And I have my reasons for not listening to those songs. But, that was the whole, you call it corporate pop or AOR rock music, like, Journey, Foreigner, REO Speedwagon, Boston, bands of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of that I grew up on, though, so I stick with it.
Whoa, Logan's got some fucking opinions.
I'll say. Tom Petty.
I admit I'm not the hugest fan of any of those bands anyway, so you're not really personally offending me. Boston I could do to listen to more. Probably Kansas, probably other bands named after some states and cities.
What about Blue Oyster Cults?
It's been a while, but I listened to like their first 4 or 5 albums, and it was some really goddamn good stuff. My favorite track from them is actually "Flaming Telepaths," which I believe was the penultimate track from Secret Treaties, their 3rd album. That is some great stuff, and I feel like I should give them another run. It's like I'm still trying to sort of adjust my top 50 lists, which may be in a perpetual state of flux forever for all I know, but I feel like there are some bands that I maybe have listened to that I'm just accidentally omitting, so
well, I'll say
that'd be a great one too.
My favorite Blue Oyster Cult track for the longest time is Don't Fear the Reaper. And then I heard Veteran of the Psychic Wars.
Awesome.
Yeah, that just right from that opening drum beat, it's just like, oh, this is good. This is really good.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say no to Don't Fear the Reaper, but it's almost become so popular that that's like the only song anyone ever remembers them for. So,
yeah.
And that would be a shame because they've done so much other great music besides that.
And Rich, yes, Godzilla. You know what I felt was a disservice?
What's that?
You remember that American Godzilla movie that came out, right?
The 2014 one?
No. I mean the first American Godzilla movie.
Oh, the fucking Roland Emmerich bullshit. That's right.
The iguana. What gets me is that there was a perfect opportunity to use that song on the soundtrack, and they didn't take it.
Well, the second, I guess, I don't know what you call it, the Monsterverse or whatever, the Godzilla King of the Monsters from 2019, that one did have a remixed version of Godzilla in the end credits, so, kudos for finally making good on that.
Yeah. I know there's a band called Racer X out there that did a really killer cover of that song, too.
Oh, nice. Nice. Yeah, Logan, I'm not going to argue. It's excellent.
And you're going to need that cowbell in there.
I was going to say more cowbell. Too easy, I know, but it's a good one.
Heavy Metal was a good movie, especially the segment B-17. I'll say that much.
Absolutely.
You mix World War II and zombies, and I'm there. But yeah, that's how I first heard Veteran of the Psychic Wars was heavy metal. And that was, if I remember correctly, that was when Grand Funk Railroad reunited.
Huh.
Okay, I'm waiting for you to insert the obligatory. You know what I'm aiming for here, Mike. Don't let me down.
I believe you're referring to. This led into the Alan Parsons project, which I believe was some kind of hovercraft line.
Yes.
I forget the entire extent of that shtick, but I do recall that. I'm actually a big fan of the Alan Parsons project. Maybe a few of their later albums aren't excellent, but Tales of Imagination and Mystery is great. I might have the title wrong. I, Robot is great. Eye in the Sky is great. Turn a Friendly Card is great. Pyramid's not bad. A little more low key, but they've done some great stuff.
And you know, as long as we're in this line of thinking, I'm also a fan of Yellow.
Yeah. Oh, I haven't actually gone on my way to listen to any of ELO's albums in a long time, but yes, I really like what I know of them.
And interestingly, you dropped the name of probably my favorite Yellow album, Time.
Twilight's maybe their I don't know if Twilight's their best song they've done, but it's a great one, and I will forever associate with anime in a good way.
Oh yeah, the Daikon opening.
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned all good scenes there, Logan.
Oh wow. I really should see that in full someday.
Yeah, you should. I mean, B-17's great, but the whole movie's worth watching at least once.
Totally.
And you know, for the longest time, you couldn't even get that movie on video.
Oh wow, really?
Yeah, I remember seeing it on cable once in the '80s, and yeah, I was staying at a friend's house, and it was on, and it was like, whoa, there's cartoon boobs here.
Shit.
And then for years, nothing. Couldn't find it or anything. And then it finally got released officially in the late '90s.
Cool.
So, but yeah, that's a good movie. Yeah, AC/DC, Mike.
We're trying to keep it positive tonight, dude.
I know. Sharon just mentioned AC/DC, and I believe the movie was Maximum Overdrive.
I need to see that one. I only know it because of the Green Goblin truck.
Yeah.
Definitely more of a parvum opus for Stephen King's Over, but
Yeah.
it seems like stupid enough fun to amuse me. So.
And Logan, no, I have never heard of the move even.
I don't think I have either. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you on that. Sorry.
Yeah, but ELO was great.
Totally.
In fact, it's funny. I was out running errands with my youngest stepdaughter the other day, and I was actually playing ELO for her.
Excellent.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll say also for her birthday this past year, she got an album from me.
Oh, which one?
Moving pictures.
Well, there you
go. On vinyl. An anniversary edition. She's very big into vinyl. So.
Hey, sweet.
Oh, I got her some Blue Oyster Cult too, so at one point.
Very
cool.
Good.
Thanks, Logan.
Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel, Logan. Even I'm not super crazy about Back in Black, just because I cannot stand Brian Johnson's voice. I'm sorry. I'll give you that, Rob. You can at least say the thing.
Which thing would that be? Part about
yeah, what I think about Brian Johnson's voice.
Like a cat being skinned alive?
Something like that. Or castrated. I forget which even. One of those two. Maybe both.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of AC/DC in the whole, but some of the stuff they've done in the Bon Scott era is very good. Uh, so, but
Well,
yeah, what else? What else? What else?
what else indeed?
Indeed, Logan. Indeed, indeed.
Oh, let's see. Well, just looking at our lineup of albums there, here's one that a band I want to mention that no, not Faith No More, not yet.
Mm.
Had a bit of a personal experience with these guys, or at least their lead singer, and I didn't have a ticket stub for them because it was a free concert. The band in question, they burned out way too quickly, and it's a shame because they were really good. God Lives Underwater.
Yes, yes. Oh, actually, you could say another local boy. I believe frontman David Riley was from somewhere in eastern PA.
Yep, I got to meet him after that live show at the band shell in Daytona Beach,
Hmm.
and really wish we'd stuck around. Apparently, he went down to the local bar and bought a round of drinks for everybody.
Oh, damn.
Yeah,
Oh, damn.
but he was super cool to talk to, and they put on a good show. And it's a shame that at the whole time, because he died actually, very tragic. He, I think it was an abscessed tooth. Something happened to it. Basically drowned in his own blood in his sleep.
Jesus fucking Christ, that's terrible.
Yeah. And Glue, during the time they were around, only put out 2 full albums and 1 EP. And their final album was released posthumously a couple years after he died.
That's
So,
right.
but yeah, they just. I once described them as a little bit of Alice in Chains mixed with a little bit of Nine Inch Nails, plus with some other stuff. So I liked them. They were good.
They indeed were.
Yeah. But now, if we want to talk about Faith No More here,
Mm.
I like Faith No More.
Yeah, I think they're really damn good. Although, I guess I'll admit King for a Day, Fool for a Lifetime wasn't their best work, but otherwise,
Had some
yeah.
good songs on it though.
Oh, totally.
Mr. Bungle, that was a hell of a band.
Fucking crazy.
Yes. Was that one album they did Disco Volante?
Yeah, yeah. Really, really off its rocker. I do think that none of them knew they were robots is a fucking bop, but yeah, yeah. I feel like I need to listen to. I think they've only released three albums, but it's been a while on my end. Hell of a trip.
Yep. But I've always liked them. They ended up being part of. Anyone notice that a lot of bands broke up in the late '90s, and all of a sudden, about 10, 15 years later, they reunited, dropped one album, and then left for good.
Mm.
Soundgarden
Indeed.
being one of them. Faith No More was another.
Oh yeah, that was a weird trend that kind of popped up around then, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Because you had Sol Invictus by Faith No More. You had King Animal by Soundgarden. And it was like, then we're gone again. And that was it.
I say trend, but we only have two examples. This has to happen. Happened elsewhere too, but I can't really think of it.
I think you're talking about Epic there, Logan. All right, Sharon, let me ask you to elaborate. Do you mean the song Cars by Gary Newman or the band The Cars?
Yeah, Rick Ocasek, rest in peace, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Mm.
And I've heard of Witchfinder General, but I've never heard them.
I saw the movie starring Vincent Price. It's a good one.
Uh, yeah, I like my dark and depressing music.
Yeah, me too. Me
But
too.
talking about the Cars, though, my favorite song by them, and this is probably a tad predictable, is the song Drive.
Hmm. Do I know that one?
I would think so.
I would hope so too.
Okay, so you didn't even sing on it.
Oh wow. Okay, I guess I don't know that one.
Huh, really? This whole time I've
Shit.
known you and you've never heard Drive.
Well, let me look that up. Maybe I did. I'm just not recognizing the. One sec. No, fuck. I don't think I actually know this one.
Well,
Shit.
all day. They were another band who did that whole we just kind of dropped in again out of nowhere to release a final album and then we're gone again.
Okay, well, then I can call it a trend.
Yep. Well, Drive is such a great song. I'll at least give them that.
Damn. I'm sorry to hear that, Sharon. Always sucks whenever there's any song that you have a negative association with because some jagoff ruined it for you. That's never fun.
But yeah, the Cars album was called Move Like This. And it's almost like they picked up where they left off in the mid 80s. So it's quite good. I remember hearing about it and it's like, wow, new cars? Huh. I
Right.
I'm going to check this whole album out.
Rad stuff, rad stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm. Hey, Rob, I usually don't like to play Order Muppet, but we have been at this for 3 hours. Are there any other bands you want to mention at this point that we haven't gone over?
Order Muppet.
That's a term I took from a friend when on the game podcasts that I do. Someone who has to keep the trains running whenever everyone gets too far off on tangents.
Well, why don't we just take a look at the last band here on our list that we can look at
Oh yeah,
before we
sure.
sign
What's
off.
that?
You love them or hate them, but it's Ghost.
I fucking love him. I was surprised that you really felt like really fucking fell hard into this band that started after the 2000s. I was a little skeptical at first, but Jesus Christ, no, Ghost is the real fucking deal. Like, I don't even know which album to recommend somebody start with because they're all valid places to enter.
Yeah, I mean, I started with Meliora.
I think I did too, but I don't. I don't even remember anymore. Shit.
About the only one I probably wouldn't recommend to start with would be what's the name of that one there? It's their second album.
Oh, how do you even pronounce that? Infestissimum.
That's the one.
It is probably their most disjointed album. Yeah, maybe not the best start, I'll give you that, but I still like it. Don't get me wrong.
It's got some good stuff on there. I mean, Year Zero's on there, and
Oats.
what's it? Monstrance Clock.
Yeah, Goulet and Zombie Queen. That one's excellent.
Yeah. But yeah, so the most recent album, Hunter's Moon, that would have been Impera.
Impera?
Yeah.
Yes.
And the covers EP they did was really good too.
Surprisingly, yes. Actually, they've done at least 3 of those by now, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, let's see. They weren't really all covers. You know, there was like they did 1 or 2 covers, and it was like, you know, live stuff or whatnot.
Well, actually, Pope Star was Square Hammer and then 4 covers.
Yeah, that's true.
And If You Have Ghost was indeed a live track and 4 covers also. So
right,
I stick by calling them cover EPs. Sorry.
Well, you're actually correct on that one. Then that's just a sign that my mind is going right now.
and that's why I mentioned we've been at 3 hours, so that's why I wandered. So no worries.
But they're just they have such a theatricality to them.
Yeah, I forget if it was you. Someone coined the term like Scooby Doo metal or whatever, and yeah, that's pretty on point. Endearingly so, I would say. They just strike such a wide range of tones
Oh yeah.
from the genuinely serious and pissed off to the absolutely balls out goofy. We know what we're doing with this sort of ambience, and they're great,
All right. Let
fucking
me.
great.
Well, let's address the chat here for a couple moments. ZZ Top.
Yeah,
I'm kind of a hit or miss guy with them.
yeah, same. I like Double Back because of Back to the Future, but otherwise,
Yeah.
I can take him or leave him.
Sticks. I like Sticks a lot. So
I need to listen to more Sticks. I can definitely stand to do so. I like what I do know of them. I know it's not very PC, but Mr. Roboto is kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, so
domo arigato.
exactly.
Alice Cooper. I mentioned this earlier before you showed up, Logan, but I got a really good look at his stage setup.
That's awesome.
When I was working in security, someone called in a bomb threat against him when he was playing the casino I worked at. So we got to go sweep the entire theater plus the stage for any potential bombs. So I made it a point to get up on stage and look around his setup. Half to satisfy my curiosity and the other to do my job.
Exactly.
And Rainbow, I'm not too familiar with.
Let me see. I could definitely stand to listen to more Alice Cooper. I do like what I know of him, though. Rainbow. I have listened to some of them. They were Dio's band before he joined Black Sabbath. I do like what I've heard, but I don't remember a lot of it. That's something I do to polish up on then.
And I do like Def Leppard, Led Zeppelin, and REO Speedwagon. So
Yeah, I do too. I'm not the hugest fan of those three, which for some might be a sticking point with Led Zeppelin because like Zeppelin has some huge super fans, which I would not count myself among their ranks, but they have done some good stuff, especially No Quarter. I fucking love that song. So.
And now to bring up a band that hasn't been brought up as of yet, Pink Floyd.
What's that? Yes, like their work can be rather inconsistent across the 15 albums they've done, but by and large, I would consider myself quite a fan of Pink Floyd. Caveat: Roger Waters is a giant asshole, and I think he always kind of was. But putting that aside, they've done some great shit. I especially think their trio run of Dark Side of the Moon, Wish You Were Here, and Animals is just really immortal. Some might even add Metal before that. That's also great. Someone also add The Wall after that, which I admit I'm not the hugest fan of The Wall, which I think Rob took me to task for, but I will still acknowledge it as the monumental album it is. So, yeah.
Are those dogs I hear? That's what I hear.
Had to get a WKRP reference at some point. I appreciate it.
Of course. WKRP introduced me to a bunch of bands that I was not familiar with.
Oh, really? Nice.
Yeah.
Which ones can you recall?
Well, only one really stands out in my head at the moment. And that would be Jefferson Starship.
Nice. That is a band I could definitely stand to listen to more. Yes.
I knew Jefferson Airplane and I knew Starship, but I had heard virtually nothing by Jefferson Starship.
And then Alan Parsons Project, which I already said it. I'm not going to say it again.
Nope, I don't think anyone's going to argue with you about Floyd.
I won't, Logan. Totally valid. I don't think they're a top 10, but I think they are still a top 20, so they're great.
Here's another one called Pigs on the Wing. What's that sound like? I don't do requests. Johnny Fever.
The Final Cut? Really?
Oh. This should be interesting.
We're supposed to be positive tonight. I'm sorry, the final cut is their worst album for me by a country mile. Logan, I've never seen anyone actually declare that one of their favorites. I respect that opinion, but I'm sorry, fuck that album. I'm sorry, very sorry, just nothing against you. It is the height of Roger Waters' massive ego. It's too overblown and pretentious, in my opinion. The main thrust of the album can be summed up as England, 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 my dad is fucking dead, and I don't really care for it. I'm sorry.
Wish You Were Here was great, though.
Yeah, Wish You Were Here is fucking amazing, absolutely. Also, Logan, unfortunately, yes, I've heard money off of that remake. God damn it, fuck Roger Waters. I'm sorry. Pink Floyd's excellent, but fuck Roger Waters. That's pretty much my stance at this point.
That was the Division Bell, Sharon.
Yeah, the Division Bell. I think the last 3 albums they've done are really mixed among several people, but I actually like that one, I'd say. And yeah, Logan, I actually feel the same way. I'm actually kind of iffy on double albums because they really kind of more often than not run the risk of just getting really exhaustive to listen to. And I think a bit of The Wall could have been edited out to make a leaner product. I mean, the overall length was 80-42, so really you just have to cut out like 1 or 2 songs to cut it down to 1 album. So
there's only a few double albums I've ever been a huge fan of. The Wall was one of them. Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness by Smashing Pumpkins was another.
Oh yeah, we haven't mentioned them, have we?
Yeah. Neither have we mentioned Filter or Garbage or
yeah. There's too much to go over. I mean, you know,
Sonata Arctica.
Yes. What are a few on my list that I remember? Oh yeah, Anthrax, Frank Zappa and the Mothers of Invention. I only briefly mentioned Yes before. The Who, which I think was the best part to come out of that era of the British invasion. I didn't mention either Iron Maiden or Judas Priest. Oh fuck, I don't even think I touched on Porcupine Tree. Yeah, there's a lot of great shit to go over, and we really can't cover it all in one. I mean, we could, but we'd have to gulp down a fuckload of coffee to keep going.
And I don't drink coffee, so.
Well, there you go.
It's okay, Logan. I'm not going to call you on that. I have a soft spot for that song.
I only remember Homer singing it in a very not well-regarded Simpsons episode.
Marconi plays the Mamba. Listen to the radio.
I don't know much about Survivor or 38 Special, except for Hold On Loosely in the latter's end. I could definitely stand to listen to more Kansas, I feel, but yeah, there's a lot that from even the 20th century that I have to catch up on, which is another reason why I don't listen to enough more modern music, because Jesus Christ, I'm still doing archaeology on what was out before I was even born.
How about Bad Company?
Their title song is a good one, but I don't think I know very much of them outside of that. That's something I could definitely do to get on.
I'm a pretty big fan of the song Rock and Roll Fantasy.
Shit, I can't recall what that one sounds like off the top of my head. Another one I gotta look up then.
I also have to say the album cover itself for that album, I always found that to be extraordinarily striking.
Oh.
Simply because of the way it was done. Was definitely unusual. Which kind of brings me to another one. I remember at one point Sharon had a book featuring record album covers. And there was always one that fascinated me.
Oh?
Supertramp's Breakfast in America.
That's a fucking classic cover, yes.
Yes, it is. And Rat, yes. We mentioned them briefly earlier. The Rat's good. I love the fact that the song, what's the big song they did there? Round and Round. Actually had Milton Berle in it.
What Wait, what? Huh? What?
The video for Round and Round by Rat had Milton Berle in it.
I completely forgot that. Son of a bitch.
He even appears in drag, yeah, too. So,
Wow. That's kind of amazing.
so, but yeah. Oh, but yeah, there's a lot more we could talk about, but man, it's like, and the more I say that kind of thing, the other ones that come to mind, like a lot of stuff from the '90s, like you know, Belly and Meat Puppets,
Mm.
Lush.
Yeah, like Collective Soul and Dishwalla and all that. Not a Surf. I'm just trying to remember bands from the '90s. I only vaguely recall at this
Harvey
point.
Danger, Cake.
Yep. What was the other one? Marcy Playground. What a one-hit wonder. Holy shit.
Yeah. And Liz Fair and
Uh-huh.
Tracy Bonham. And
Semisonic and all that.
Sharon, that's like the third time you've mentioned ZZ Top.
Oh, hey, I was about to bring up Sponge.
Oh, yeah, Sponge. Rotting
they're
Pinata is still a phenomenal album.
It is, yes.
Manic Street Preachers, yeah, it's another one.
Mm-hmm.
The Verve.
Hmm.
The Verve Pipe.
Yeah, what the hell was up with that? Like, one wasn't split off from the other, was it?
Not to my knowledge.
It's just a sheer coincidence.
But
Blind Melon. There you go.
oh yeah, Blind Melon. I always like the song Galaxy.
That is yet another one I will have to look up. God damn it!
Well, all that everyone remembers is the one with the Beat Girl. You know, No Rain.
Yeah. I mean, I forget if there was a one-hit wonderland on that, but yeah, I like that. That's the thing about one-hit wonders. There has to be some other songs in their library that are worth looking into for the most part. So,
and then there was stuff like Better Than Ezra, Matthew Sweet, Juliana Hatfield.
oh, any thoughts on Third Eye Blind?
My only thought is doot 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 doot.
God fucking damn it! Wait! You want something that might be even worse?
Oh, go ahead.
1, 2, princes lay before you. That's what I say now. Princes.
Yeah, don't copyright strike us.
Fucking Spin Doctors.
I own
That
that
is like
album
my
for a while.
mom's most hated song ever, and I troll her with it every now and again. So.
Yeah, the song that you're talking about, Logan, from Blind Melon, No Rain, if you ever watch the video, it's got the Bee Girl in it. And she's on the cover of the album, too.
You will know it very automatically,
Yes.
probably even when you hear it.
And
but...
REM, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I like REM.
I only learned recently that they actually officially called it quits. I thought they were still together.
Oh, no, they've been gone for a while.
Yeah, shit, I'm really behind on all that.
Yeah, What's the Frequency Kenneth was good. I'm personally a big fan of the song The Great Beyond.
Do I know that one off the top of my head? REM's a band I've meant to plunge into more when I get the chance.
I listened to that particular song a lot after my younger brother died. It kind of fit the mood.
Yeah.
And of course, Sharon brought up one of Sam's favorites, Guns N' Roses. Yeah.
I'm not huge on them, but they have done some good things. So,
for that matter, you too. As long as we're talking about Sam.
Yeah, I do like. Yeah, Sam actually got me more into U2. Made me realize that they did some amazing stuff in the '90s. And hell, a lot of their '80s stuff is great too. Maybe the Joshua Tree has a bit that's overplayed, but it's still a damn good album.
Now, as far as Skid Row, White Lion, and White Snake, I'm not really all that familiar with any of them. I know a couple songs here and there. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same in that regard. Yeah. I would say that Use Your Illusion is arguably even better than or it would have been better than Appetite for Destruction if it had just been edited down to one album, but I guess it depends on who you ask.
Oh yeah, Chicago.
Damn, 25 or 6 to 4 is an amazing song. Other than that, I don't know nearly enough about Chicago. That's something I could do to educate myself on also.
I know some of the
And
early
hey,
'80s stuff, but that's about it.
gotcha. And hey, Logan, yes, good bingus. Yeah, U2 is absolutely great. I just like, for some reason, they seem to have some inexplicable hate-dom around them, and I know Bono can maybe grate on some people, but I've never understood why they have the hate-dom they do. So,
Any band that can release a song like "Hold Me, Throw Me, Kiss Me, Kill Me" is not a bad band.
absolutely not. No, I would say almost say that song alone justifies Batman Forever's existence.
Mhm. Speaking of which, as far as Ghosts and their covers are concerned, they have teased the fact that they have other covers that are currently stewing, I think. One of which is
Oh,
a U2 song. We don't know which one. They're covering U2. They are
I
covering Rush. We know which one they're doing there.
and God damn it, I need to hear it yesterday.
I need to hear it the day before yesterday.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're
Uh,
covering Distant Early Warning.
yeah, holy shit! That I can actually almost hear it in my head how that would actually go. So,
I know they're covering a few other ones, but I can't think of who they were off the top of my head.
mm. uh, yeah, I'm not sure. All I can say is that yes, "Bullet the Blue Sky" is actually my favorite song off of the Joshua Tree, and "Sunday Bloody Sunday" also a fucking great one. Tragic though it is, but huh. Oh yeah, yeah, that infamous
Yeah, I remember that debacle.
matter. Yeah, yeah, I remember hearing, not a bad album per se. It's just that that was a little bit of a dubious method of distributing it, and I don't think any band has done
Mhm.
so ever since. So, what do you
And
do?
just to kind of go in a different direction for a second, there's Sepultura.
Ah, I do think Rahamatatma, or however you pronounce that, is an awesome song. Otherwise, I don't remember a lot else that they've done.
I prefer the Max Cavalera era. So,
Of course, yes.
you listen to the album Roots or Chaos AD or Arise. That's all great stuff.
Totally.
And all right, Rich, will do.
Hey,
So
see you later, Richard. It's great having you on, sir. Thank you for
yeah,
stopping in.
yeah, I gotta admit that was just not expecting to see you show up here. And but I'll drop you a line, sure.
Totes.
All right, and yes, yes is another one I don't know too much about, but what I know of, I like.
Absolutely. I, I don't. What would I say is the best album to start with for them? I would almost say Close to the Edge, but I'm not
90125.
sure. That actually might be their most accessible album. That might be the best
Yeah.
one to actually start with, because Yes is big on huge 20-minute epics, which might not be up everyone's alley, or at least they were in the 70s. But I eat that shit up, so why
I
not?
will say this: they have one of the best album titles ever.
Which one?
Wasn't it Tales from the Topographic Oceans?
Yes, yes, that's that album is somewhat divisive. Some people think it's too much, even for their really epic standards. Others feel that its epicness is thus justified. I would say it's my favorite they've done, but I think it's worth listening to. Also, Drama is very underrated. I know John Anderson wasn't on that one, but I still think it's got a lot of great cuts on it. So
Going for the one, yes.
yeah, yeah, that one doesn't get talked up enough either. It is really damn good.
That was one I had their best of greatest hits. I put that song on repeat one night at work. I
Hey,
was I,
sweet.
I was there driving around inspecting the property. I was I was a supervisor at the time, so I could do that. And it's just like, wow, this is good. I'm gonna just keep repeating this. But yeah, all good stuff. And she said we never got around talking about, say, Ministry or Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah, like I said, there's just so much we could cover here.
So much.
Yep.
So much. But I think we are going to go ahead and call it a night because we've been on this for almost 3.5 hours now.
Uh-huh. It may be a weekend, but I think I'm running out of energy, so that's how it goes.
And for the record, I like ABBA.
I like what I know about them too, yeah.
I mean, I have a good chunk of their stuff. So,
Awesome.
also reminds me of my mother, gone 30 years this year.
I got you.
Yeah, she was a big ABBA fan.
Yeah.
On the
Makes sense.
downside, she also liked Achy Breaky Heart, but I won't hold that against her, I guess.
They can't all be singers.
Nope. But, yeah. Fun fact, Information Society covered ABBA.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. On their first album, they covered Lay Out Your Love on Me.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, so thank you to everybody for coming out and sticking around. Got some surprises here, and I'd say this one went over pretty well.
Yeah, it was very fun. This is a good subject to tilt upon. And actually, Fragile's a great place to start with them as well.
And maybe
at least
go on.
At least like 2 or 3 of their biggest songs ever is on that one. So, but yeah, you were saying?
Yeah, maybe we'll revisit this subject at some point in the future.
Yeah, again, we do have a lot more to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe.
And maybe next time we feel like it will be a little more negative. Talk about the bands we don't like and why we don't like them.
Yeah, more actual negative than typo negative, as it were.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So, again, thank you all. And hopefully we will see you all again next time around. So, say goodnight.
Yeah. Mike. Good night, Mike. Good night, Peter. Good night, Getty. Good night, everybody.
Yep. And have a fun.
Enjoy.